Good evening, everyone. You're watching Homo Ludens, the channel on history and board games. Tonight, we're doing something a bit unusual. We'll be hosting the finals of the Cuba Libre series tournament that was organized on the Coin Discord server. Joe, you're one of the organizers of that tournament, so I think probably a good place to start would be to ask you, Joe, what's that tournament about?
Yeah, so it's very serious business. This is the
Very
highest
serious.
level coin playing in the world. We call this the Coin Pro series. Pro is actually an acronym, so it's important to stress this isn't a professional series. These are not paid players. They all have day jobs, which I would say actually makes their overall high levels of performance even more impressive.
Yeah.
These aren't people who are practicing every day like me, who's actually a really pro coin player. These are people just doing it as a hobby in their spare time, and they're perhaps even better than me at the game. In fact, several of them beat me during the tournament. So the tournament's been running for 2 or 3 months now, and how it's been structured is we had two first rounds where everybody playing in the tournament could participate. There were 40 participants in the tournament, which is a lot. And then anyone who won one of those games went through to the semifinals. We had 16 semifinalists, so four games there, 4 players each. And each of the winners of those games will be with us today for this final tournament. So each of them's won at least 2 games over the past few months. One of them, in fact, has won 3 games. I won't give a spoiler by saying who that was. But all very impressive players, and all going to show us what they're made of today.
Yeah, that's really great. So if you're watching this live, we're going to bring in the participants to have a quick discussion with them before we start playing. And then Joe and I will just comment the live play. So if you've followed I think it was the Jest of Robin Hood tournament, you might already know Joe and I's commenting style. So get ready for some really serious comments. So that's the first thing. And hopefully we should have, if they are not too pissed off because of how it went, the players coming at the end to debrief a bit their game. If you're watching this after the fact, I'll have added time codes in the description so you can navigate to the beginning of the game, to each propaganda, and then to the debrief, if that makes sense. Cool, but I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And as I said before starting the game, we invited our participants here to talk a bit about the tournament and maybe hear a bit of banter before the game starts. So I'm starting to start with bringing in Jay. Jay, you're playing with the Directorio tonight, so welcome, Jay. We also have Alex, who will be playing the 26th of July, Gian Maria, who will be playing the government, and Anthony, who will be playing the syndicate faction. So thanks to all of you for being here tonight, for accepting. You didn't really have a choice, but you did accept to be streamed tonight during your game. So thank you for that. But pretty impressive. You're on the finals. So I guess I was curious. So how did the tournament go? Are you happy with your success so far? And let's start with you, Jay.
Yeah, I think everything went great. I was syndicate twice, so I feel like from a faction standpoint, I had a good draw. It's going to be challenging playing Directorio, but I know with help from my brothers in the 26th of July, we can make this competitive.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do it. And just for context, so Alex compiled some numbers about the tournament, and out of the 24 games that are recorded in the tournament, 10 were won by the syndicate. So the fact that you got the syndicate twice means that there was maybe a slight advantage here, or maybe you drew the statistics up because you were so good at playing the syndicate. You were actually a variable. Jay being so good is actually impacting the faction as a whole, which is possible. But then on the other side, Directorio is the weakest faction with only 3 wins. So we hope, Jay, that you can demonstrate your skills tonight. So thanks for being here. We'll find out. And now, well, let's jump to the favorite of tonight, Anthony. So you'll be playing the syndicate. The tournament went so far.
Tournament went pretty well for me so far. I got government and then 2 directorios. Lost my 1 directorio in the first round, and then somehow managed to pull out a win once we all figured out the Havana situation, which I'm sure someone here will try and employ.
Good, good, good. And then we have Gian Maria playing the government. Government is not the easiest faction to play, but still pretty decent win rate within that tournament. Gian Maria, how did it go so far, and how confident do you feel about tonight?
Well, I enjoyed playing all the games during this tournament, and I played well. This will be my second play as my second game as the government. I played twice Directorio and once the 26th of July. And well, I don't know if I feel confident, but I'm going to try to enjoy and try to do some interesting moves. But then I have some insurgent opponents that will try, I think, to block me.
We'll see about that. And last but not least, Alex, you'll be playing the 26th of July. Also a very hard faction to win with, apparently, within that tournament. How did the tournament go so far? How do you feel about your chances tonight?
The tournament was great. I had lots of fun. I also got lucky and got 2 syndicate draws, which should maybe put me here, or I put the syndicate where it is. I don't know. But I'm looking forward. This will be my first 26th July game, so I'm very excited. Let's put it like that. Yeah, I think it's a strong faction. I will try my best.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll do great. Each of you, what were your experience with the game before the tournament? Jay, were you? I see the shelves behind you. It looks like you have some experience.
Yeah, I've been excited about the coin series since Andean Abyss. So I played a lot of coin games, and especially through COVID times, on Vassal. Had a number of async games going at the same time. Not a lot of experience with Cuba Libre, but just having a game that employs some of these in a small format is wonderful.
Oh, Fred, I can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah. And you, Anthony, what was your experience with Cuba Libre before going into the tournament?
2 games, I think. I got introduced to the coin series by seeing Gandhi in one of my local stores and seeing that it was about peaceful insurgency and revolutions, and I got really interested in that. Realized it's a terrible place to start, and then I started working my way back and started at Cuba Libre. I only played about 2 games prior to this.
Great. And you, Gian Maria?
Before the tournament, I think I played Cuba Libre 3 or 4 times. I think twice with 4 players, and I did 2 games with my partner where both of us managed 2 factions at the same time. And as for other coins, well, I really like the series. I started exploring the series with Falling Sky, and then I did into Gandhi and Pendragon, and I think Cuba Libre was a quite easy game to learn, but at the same time really interesting on a strategical level, because the map is smaller, and on the other hand, also the different special abilities are not that different from a faction to another.
Yeah,
so,
it's a good introductory game. I agree.
It is.
Yeah, and you, Alex, what was your experience with the game before the tournament?
I just recently got Cuba Libre before the tournament, and then I saw the tournament, and I thought, oh, that's a great opportunity to learn it. And I got like 2 games where I played solo in before, and then 2 with my friends, and then the games in the tournament. So like a handful of games. Yeah.
Great, but then it's so medium experience, like a bit rookie, but through the tournament, actually, you came to experience the game a lot more, and now you are hardcore gamers, so that's good to know. Before we jump into the game, there is maybe one question about the organization from Cal here, and that's maybe more a question for Joe, asking, are the factions allotted randomly or through some sort of bidding?
Yeah, so for the final, we've done them randomly, and for most of the rounds of the tournament, that was the same. In the second round, we did make sure that people got to play new factions, so that kind of spread things out a bit. But for future tournaments, if we did it again, we could definitely consider bidding, and that's been an interesting aspect of the tournament, I think. And there's been lots of discussion about maybe whether, in fact, the Directorio on 26th of July might be weaker than the government and syndicate, which was initially a surprise to me, and I had to think a bit about why this might be. So I knew that syndicate might be slightly favored, but I was quite surprised by the high performance of government so far.
Yeah. Okay, that's maybe interesting, something that we can talk in the debrief about what could be the future of the tournaments. Before we start playing, I just want to do a bit of a PSA. The Golden Geek on BGG are now open for votes. So if you don't know, every year you can vote on Board Game Geek for different games of the year. But more importantly, why I'm mentioning it tonight is that there is a specific podcast that has been nominated that I think is a really important podcast for the community, and that's the podcast from Liz, Beyond Solitaire. So if you're watching this, I would say go on Board Game Geek and vote for the Golden Geek Awards and vote for Beyond Solitaire being the best podcast of the year. Really important for the community, important for us. Please support these. So do that. But I think that's it for the PSA. Thanks to our participants to give us a bit of insight in who they are and the tournament. That was great. And I think you can probably jump out and start playing. And I will bring the so you'll be playing on Vassal tonight, and I'm gonna bring in the stream the Vassal window, and this is where Joe and I will follow the game here and make some different comments. So see you guys soon and have fun.
All right.
Hello.
Yes, good. Okay, but then
Okay,
now
Brad, here we go.
Yeah, it's just the two of us now. Good. So yeah, just as a reminder, so we have Jay for the Directorio, Alex for the 26th of July, Anthony for the Syndicate, and Jen Maria for the Government. It looks like they haven't drawn their first card yet. Joe, what do you think is going to happen tonight?
Well, I have to say, between me and you, Fred, and everyone else watching except the players, Jay is a pretty high level player. I've played a few games with him over Vassal over the last few years. Like he mentioned. I would put my money on him, although he is playing Directorio, right, who are perhaps slightly less favored than government and syndicate. The game is beginning. We've got Operation Fisherman up first, which is an interesting start. Could get 26th July and right in Pinar del Rio. Yeah, so in terms of the whole game, what government and syndicate both need to do, I would say, is really drag it out to the end. There's a slim chance for the government to win very, very early, but with players of this caliber, I would doubt that we'll see that. Otherwise, 26th July and Directorio really need to grab that victory and maybe the second or third, maybe fourth propaganda round. So he's gone for Operation Fisherman there. Which is a bold move. That's a good place to be, but that base and that is kind of stuck there until he can get rid of that support. And he's only got the one guerrilla there, so he's not going to be able to remove all the support himself.
And for the people who are wondering, this is called the Fisherman opening. So a very classic opening in the Cuba Libre coin. I think it's bold. I think it's a bit risky, but we can see what he develops from there. Regarding Jay, I think he struck me as probably a very strong player. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do. I think it's great that he's playing the Directorio. I think it's going to make for a balanced, maybe a more balanced game. And he had this big Directorio energy. When he felt very calm and I think he's going to do great. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, although historically the Directorio and the other dissident groups, other than 26th July, quite calm and quite confident to begin with, perhaps. But it really fell apart for them midway through. So we could see something similar happening, perhaps. Now I'm going to predict what Jim Marie is going to do here. Probably going to transport and train into Las Villas. That would be my move here. Put base down in Las Villas, reinforce it with some troops from the city.
So he's placing the white pawn. Oh, so he's placing all of his pawns before doing anything, or he's
which is helpful. That's helpful for us. We can see what's happening. So he's doing operation and special activity there, and that has to be train and transport because there's no other special activity you could do there in Las Villas. This is a very classic government opening, I would say. If the government gets the opportunity to do this, it lets them begin to consolidate in Las Villas there. And we actually call this the 1898 opening because it's what the Spanish government did during the first Cuban Revolution at the end of the 19th century. They reinforced here and held the center, and that kept all the revolutionaries bottled up at one end of the island. So it's an interesting callback to that earlier era.
Good. I'm just putting a small message for them, telling them placing pawns is awesome. It helps us with the comments, so that's really good.
Yeah, that has to be a train.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a train. And we have
a very expensive sweep for no effect.
Yeah, that would be a bit weird.
That would be strange.
Unusual. That would be unusual.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Hey Kabuki, nice to have you here. Oh, and Joe is really active already. Good old Joe.
Yeah, Joe. So shout out to Joe Bayer there. What does that piece do? Joe's got a great kind of tutorial and also historical overview video about Cuba Libre, which if anyone's interested in the game, I'd check out.
Definitely go and have a look. And I think that Joe will also release pretty soon a teach and play video about Land and Freedom by Alex Knight. So I would recommend subscribing to Joe's channel and make sure that you see the content that is going to come up. And yes, Joe, I'll try to be careful about muting before coughing.
Yeah, good. So that's a nice bold opening there for government. If government gets another chance to do an op there in Las Vegas before anyone else can get in, they'll have a very solid grip on the mountain. So we have Carlos Prio up next, which is another nice option for Directorio here. Could get them the base there in one of these provinces. I would consider going for a base in Oriente if I was Directorio at this point. I would suggest. Which is called the second front of Las Cristal opening. Oh, you got rid of our faces.
Yeah. I was just removing myself from the stream for a second while I was coughing like an animal. So that's and he's going for the event. That's really unusual. Yep. So like one event taken for each card, which is quite interesting.
I would say it's unusual at high-level coin play in general, although Cuba Libre is notable for having extremely potent event cards. So it's perhaps less unusual in this game where the event's kind of a real big impact. Oh, he's going for Havana. Oh, okay. So this is interesting. This is very interesting. In the pre-game discussion, one of the players mentioned the Havana situation, and this is something that's come up in the tournament a few times. I think maybe the first Directorio win was by marching into Havana on the final card to grab control there, which is obviously huge. That's almost enough to win just by itself. So Jay may be trying to build up towards this option, I think.
So what is the event doing? Maybe just to explain to people.
It places a base in Havana. So Carlos Prio, who's an ex-president of Cuba, has arrived back into Havana. He has a little entourage there. And he's beginning to build up more of a force, planning to take capital by force, maybe. So yeah, he gained a base in Havana, and that will allow him to rapidly build up forces there, unless it's taken off. But it does also give the syndicate a full operation special activity, which is risky, I would say. That can get them going quickly.
Yeah, but if it pays off, it could be.
Yeah, no, it's bold. With some nice bold plays here by both Directorio and 26th July, which is probably what we need to see from them, actually. I think if they play it safe, there's a real risk that they get stuck there. Is the Syndicate about to try and rally into that economic center? That's foul. That's an illegal move.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in and intercept.
Quickly, yeah.
Hey guys, I don't know if you can you hear me? Yeah, someone is rallying in the economic centers. This is
red card.
This is the yellow card. This is a yellow card.
Yellow card.
Yeah. So be careful. We see and hear everything. Okay, I'm back. Actually, everyone heard me, so that's because I was still here, of course. Okay.
That works quite nicely, actually. It's good that we can poke our head in their room and tell them.
And jump in.
Anywhere else is fair play though for the Syndicate. Very powerful ability for the Syndicate. Quite unusual in the series, I would say, actually, to be able to rally even at full support like that for any kind of faction. And it's pretty potent.
But I think that the Syndicate being able to do this kind of makes sense. There are a lot more underground. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're not really an insurgent group in a sense. I mean they're more like a criminal organization. I might say some discussion on the coin server recently over the distinction indeed between criminal organizations and insurgent groups. It's interesting.
An interesting discussion. Oh, we have Liam here who's asking an interesting question. Would you say the game gets easier or harder for the Directorio in the long scenario? So that's I think it's an interesting question.
So firstly, for anyone who doesn't know the difference there, we're playing the shorter scenario here, which only has 4 campaigns of 10 event cards, whereas the long would be 4 campaigns of 12 event cards. So there's 8 cards less in this scenario we're playing. I would say it certainly is bad for the government to play a longer game because they run out of resources. That would be the main difference in my eyes. So that would be good for Syndicate, but for Directorio, but it might also help some of the other factions. So it's not good for Directorio as such. It's bad for government and maybe not great for Syndicate, but not a huge problem, and good for the other 2 factions.
Oh, it looks like the Syndicate is giving some cash to the government. Interesting. Already some bribing in action. Good. One thing about the cash marker, something that people have a tendency to forget, is that the cash marker can be used for an additional lim up. So that's even though it rents you money during the propaganda, which is also great. The fact that it gives you that extra lim up is also something that is extremely powerful.
Yeah, that's a very powerful move, particularly for government, I'd say.
Yeah,
good for the others as well. But...
Oh, and we have the Board Game Chronicle who's here. Also, awesome channel. Definitely recommend. And I would say I don't really like unboxing videos or stuff like this, but the Board Game Chronicle, he makes those videos about how to properly pack your games using specific components and everything. And I think it's very actually valuable content for wargamers. We usually have tight boxes with a lot of content, really cool stuff, and also in-depth series about specific games. So great stuff here on that channel. So also shout out to Board Game Chronicle.
The 26 July here is going for Operation Special Activity, which I think makes sense. This card's not so powerful for 12. There's a few tricks they could have done with it, but yeah, this is a good move.
So what does the event do normally, Joe?
Yeah. Although actually, you might want to note for them quickly. It looks like they're trying to. They might not be rallying. They might be doing something else. Terror is what they're doing. The event lets you, for 26 July, it would let them march into a space for free and then rally or and then free rally there. Notably, so this may not have occurred to the players. The free rally there happens even if a place is not normally a rally candidate, like a city at active support. So it could have allowed 26 July to get into Havana, but I think this is a solid long-term move for them here, just to start tearing to remove some support.
Yeah, that looks like what he's doing right now. And is he going to try to get that cash marker, you think? Yep.
He did. He used kidnap her to take the cash marker.
That's what I thought he would do.
Yep, good move.
Yeah, I think it's a really good move.
It's a good move, slightly risky because there's not many guerrillas there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to protect, but then, yeah, it will be an opportunity cost for the government to take it back, I guess.
The DR on 26 July have fallen into this trap, though, of letting the government take another operation before they've managed to get into Las Vegas. So government, if they want, could lock down Las Vegas, although they don't quite have enough resources to do it. They can get it to passive support, but not active. We'll see. We'll see what we do. Maybe cash.
We have a question here that is a bit definitely not about the game, but Cuba Libre adjacent. So for the people who don't know, was recently announced on GMT P500 an expansion for Cuba Libre called Resisting Revolution. This expansion is designed by yours truly, Joe Dewhurst here. And Joe is asking the question, so the other Joe Bayer, can you share a few details about Resisting Revolution, what's in the box, I guess, but also what additional content is there for Cuba Libre base game?
So there's actually not a box. It's going to be a Ziploc expansion, which we decided would allow it to be a bit cheaper, and because it doesn't come with any new wooden pieces. So all of the content in it reuses the same wooden pieces. In the box, there's a whole new expansion game set from 1959 to 1962. And I won't say much about that yet. I'm going to release some articles on that soon. But what I will say is it really is a completely new game. So unlike the existing coin expansions for Falling Sky or Fire in the Lake, which kind of add on new content to the base game. This really is just a different game because the situation from 59 to 62 was so different that it wouldn't really have made sense to reuse the same core mechanics. The government faction and the resistance faction to some extent are more like normal coin factions. You might see in Cuba Libre, but the other two are very different, and it's a whole new game. Not a kind of introductory level game either, so more like a more advanced game that players might move on to. In the box, so just to pause this quickly, the government did do what we expected there, so they built passive support in SES, which is a good move. They're getting pretty solid there. So that's a full expansion game, kind of maybe a 1 to 3 hour length game, 1 to 2 hour length game. So shorter-ish as coin games go. There's also a new scenario for Cuba Libre, a new free-player scenario for Cuba Libre, which I'm working on, along with some new event cards, which you can use either in that scenario or in the main game. So it'll add some additional variability and cover some different aspects of Revolution.
And maybe
finally,
about this 3-player variant, I think if you want to hear a bit more about the thinking behind the 3-player variant, I think that listening in the discussion that we had with Steven the other week about the philosophy behind the con series, I think that's I guess that's a good context because you're working with Steven on this, and I think that's good context to understand what was the idea behind the 3-player variant.
Yeah, so just to say a little about that, what I'm doing with that variant is kind of not redesigning Cuba Libre, but rethinking some aspects of the design based on my own experience with the coin series and my own reading about Revolution. So it's almost like a kind of a remix, my own interpretation of the situation. And yeah, finally, there's a 2-player mini game called Days of Pigs, which is a slightly silly little game, but something me and a friend Sean O'Keefe together during the pandemic a few years ago. It's kind of when we first met, really, me, you, and Sean. We were working on that, and that's about the Bay of Pigs invasion. And it's less historical, I would say, than the others. It's more of just kind of a little game to play with 2 players over 45 minutes or so, just a quick game.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that you were adding Bay of Pigs in there. I think it's great. It's a really fun little game, and I think it's really cool. And for the little story, this is this mini game that you made with Sean was the original inspiration for the Consim Game Jam Edition 1, where the topic was to recycle a coin game, and the idea came from me watching you two making that recycling Cuba Libre.
Exactly, and it's great to be able to finally publish that properly as well.
So
it seems like there's maybe some deliberation going on. We've got Syndicate up on Fangio here. My guess would be that Syndicate and government might be discussing their options together.
Yeah, it's probable. Maybe I'm gonna quickly listen in.
Dead air. We need to talk. I had an idea as well, Fred. Oh, he's listening to them now. Never mind.
Okay.
See if there are any other questions.
Yeah, there were some negotiations.
Okay. I was going to suggest we could consider pausing at the second propaganda round and bringing them in for a kind of halftime chat, just for 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think I'll jump in at the second propaganda just to ask them if they are okay for a quick debrief halfway through. It's going to be interesting.
Cool. Okay, so he's going. What's he going to do?
So that must be the Syndicate.
He might be building another casino there in Havana.
Mm-hmm.
That might be what he needed to discuss with the government. Okay, let me just have a think about this whole board state. I don't think it's particularly favouring anyone so far. There's no particularly strong side here. Government's out of resources, otherwise they might have been able to push for an early victory there. Which is really the big problem the government faces in this one. Yeah, he's building casinos. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Got to get them down early. So one there. Yep.
It does make sense. Yeah, the government is really low on resources now. What could help? Like an event providing them some resources? What do you think they could do to actually counteract?
An event or an early propaganda round, that's all they're looking for at this point. Or begging a different faction to resources. You know, I've seen the 26th July give a government resources sometimes. It's
Yeah.
a funny old world.
I think it makes sense to actually have some money coming from the 26th of July. It's a good negotiation piece. Like you can do stuff that benefits them too. So there is a good territory for negotiation here, especially with the 26th of July being so close to the syndicate in the east of the island. I think there could be some negotiation. But then again, the syndicate is not very rich either right now.
No, no one is. There we go. So this was what I was alluding to earlier. So taking that hash marker rather than just taking resources was a real risk for 26th July because the syndicate can do exactly this and steal it back, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought might happen.
And this is what happened.
Yep. Yep.
And now let's see what the Directorio does.
Yeah, so we've got Fangio here, which Directorio probably isn't going to want to take. You could use it to stop the government winning, shifting Havana down, but right now.
But then, what is the upcoming event for him? Because that may be something that he could pass for.
Oh, Rodrigo Luches. Yeah. So again, this one would let him essentially rally in a space that already has. Yeah, he's passing for that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He can at least take a full turn or take a good event.
Yeah. Good move.
Yeah, I would say it's almost always worth passing to become first eligible if you can.
Yeah, and we'll see if he goes for a full turn or if he takes the event. I guess he'd probably go for a full turn at this stage.
Yeah, I think so. If he was low on resources, the event might be good for a free rally. How are you doing it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that with 6 resources, I would go with a full turn. Because the propaganda is shuffled in the whole deck, right? It's not.
That's right. It could come
so it could come in at any time. So I would have went with a full turn personally, but
I mean, he might be worried about losing the resources, but if you spend them, then you can't lose them. That's my motto.
Yes, that's a good motto. I like it. You know what? I'm gonna go and grab the rule book. I'll be back in a sec.
You're gonna write that down. You're gonna go and get a piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a piece of paper and wrote the thoughts of Joe Dewhurst, and I'm gonna start to write an anthology. I'll be back in a sec. Keep the people entertained, Joe.
So one thing I'm curious about is what the government and syndicate agreed to with that cash marker there, because that's perhaps an unusual move for syndicate. The worst the government could have done is close that casino, but right now that casino in Havana is actually earning the government money. So they have no incentive to close it. So it was interesting to see a trade that early on, really, between syndicate and government. When it's not clear to me that the government has much to offer to the syndicate. We'll see. The government's passing, they don't have enough money. That makes sense. Okay, so this is why Jay took the event as Directorio. It allowed him to get into Las Villas and place 2 guerrillas there. He could have rallied there anyway, but it means he's got 2 there now, which perhaps is stronger.
What did I miss?
Oh, well, Directorio used that event there to put 2 guerrillas in Las Villas, which wasn't maybe a misplay even. I would say perhaps because he could have just rallied there. He could have just put a guerrilla there with a regular rally anyway, and having an additional guerrilla there isn't necessarily such a big deal at this stage of the game. It does mean that the government can't immediately reprisal to move that guerrilla out, so it could give him a shot at either ambushing or terroring there in Las Villas. And that's of course a key place for Directorio to try and take control of either Las Villas or Oriente.
And yes, I agree with the Board Game Chronicle comment here. I think they definitely need to cooperate, and then the question is who's gonna backstab who in first, I guess.
Yeah, so I actually think this format we've chosen is quite interesting, that we can't see what they're discussing. So of course, we lose an aspect of it there, but it's almost more like watching a poker game or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. And I think it does make sense. I can have a bit of a sneak peek once in a while and listen to what's happening. The decision that we made with Joe of keeping them offline was, we're thinking we're probably going to talk a lot, probably say a lot of stupid things, but also probably making comments about their play directly, and it can be quite distracting when you're playing. To have someone commenting what you just did, like for example, Joe's just saying, "Oh, I think it was a misplay." I think it can be pretty crushing while you're playing.
Yeah, no, I would talk differently, but nonetheless, It looks right now like Directorio is trying to rally in 6 spaces, but they only have 4 resources, so we'll see how that plays out for them. Maybe if the other players aren't paying attention, it could work out. Not sure. They don't have enough resources for that.
Cheating again?
We
Do I need to
might
jump
need
in?
you might need to pop in and, well, I don't know, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe someone else is paying for the rally. I don't know. Yeah, but maybe jump in and check what's happening there.
Yeah.
There's another thing which
Okay,
hasn't happened. Yeah.
Okay, they got it. They got it.
Okay, good.
So
Okay,
as
good.
soon as they connected, they were laughing because I knew that I was gonna come with a second yellow card.
Okay. But that's for a different player, so that's fine. You know, each player can take one yellow card a half, maybe we could say. And I mean, it's worth noting as well that other than Jay, I think most of these players are relatively new to Cuba Libre, so these are fair mistakes to be making. He could also be rallying a lot more pieces into Sierra Maestre, but I'm not going to pop in to say that. I think that's up to him to decide what to do. Oh, and he's not going for Oriente. Interesting. What would you be doing here, Fred? I know you're a big red player yourself.
Actually, in Cuba Libre, I prefer playing the government.
I'd say that's true of most coin games, actually, and perhaps most games even.
Yes, it is, but it's maybe something I need to talk about with my counselor. But
or your commissar, perhaps.
Yes, my commissar, maybe. I think I would have went in Oriente already. So I think that's a bit weird not to do it.
I agree.
Yep. But then again, who's playing the 26th of July? That's Alex. Yeah. I think I would have went there.
I think it's something. I mean, Alex is doing a little bit. It's something which new insurgent players miss sometimes. Is that really if you spread out everywhere, terror everywhere, you can get close to winning very quick.
And Ian is asking a more practical question. So yes, actually, the players are on a separate room on Discord that I can jump in and out of to listen in, but also to intervene if necessary. And then Joe and I are just streaming in another application right now, so we can go from one to the other. And I can give some yellow cards if Joe and I see that something is not respecting the rules. And yes, Chip, I would move Napoleon into Oriente. That's exactly what I would do. And yeah, and regarding your comment, Joe, I think this is why we want to bring them in at halftime. So at halftime, having a bit of a discussion with them and debrief. So regarding the halftime, originally, I think there was. I'm not sure. I think I wanted to have Jason Carr coming in and sing La Bella Mesa for us as a bit of a halftime event, but he wasn't available, unfortunately. So that won't happen. But we'll have the candidates coming back and talking about how they're doing.
Maybe we could get everyone into a rousing rendition of Bella Ciao instead, seeing as it's the anniversary of the Great Hanging today.
Yes, that's true. We could do that. And Michael is not asking. Have been surprised. Yeah. So that's maybe something. But back to you, Joe. So the government has been doing extremely well during that government. So out of the 24 game, 10 wins. Was that a big surprise for you?
It was initially a surprise, but I gave it some thought and reflected on it, and I think what we're seeing is quite natural, actually. So I think at lower level play or kind of more novice play of Cuba Libre, the government is quite weak because they very quickly run out of resources, and it can be hard to know what to do. However, I think they're benefited from the game going at full length because right at the end of the game, if there's no outright winner, there's a final chance for the government to get some resources and do a civic action, which is quite powerful and can put them in a good position, even if they haven't necessarily fulfilled all their victory conditions. So, and with experienced players of a similar skill level, I would expect more games to go all the way to the end rather than ending early. So that's my hypothesis: is that given that skilled players will tend to stop each other winning early, the government's got a slight advantage because they benefit from the game going full length if they don't win early on.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Actually, the level of skills for from the player that were participating might have an impact, and I think that's the same for all game. When you had the root tournament, I think also the results here is going to be dependent on the level of skill of the players with that. And Boarding Chronicle here saying that Oriente seems like a key territory for a syndicate with 2 population, but we're seeing another strategy here. I'm actually quite surprised that Oriente is not like that. No one is fighting over Oriente right now.
So I wouldn't say it's key for Syndicate, but
not
for
really.
Directorio and
I would say
26th July,
Directorio and 26th of July, definitely. Yeah. And in most of the game that I've been in, this is usually an area where you would see those 2 factions fighting over quite a bit. So I'm actually quite surprised that nothing happened here. Maybe it's an agreement that they came up with, saying first propaganda, none of us going to Oriente. So that might be interesting for us to ask them when they come in halftime.
They've been more aggressive towards the west end of the island, actually, which is less usual, or west end, I should say, to be synced up there.
It is the east.
No, there's a western end. No,
oh, yes, the west. Sorry, my bad. Oh, my God.
Yep.
I'm tired.
Yep. I think.
Oh, and yeah, Board Game Chronicle meant Directorio. Yeah, that makes sense.
That was what I guess you meant as well. Yeah. If getting your crime syndicates and your moderate opposition parties mixed up, easy mistake.
But it's really
interesting.
interesting.
Get more mixed up with it later on. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how things are going to evolve from there. The government is actually doing quite well. Having the Las Villas at active opposition is pretty nice. He's only 1 point away from winning. So shifting Camagüey at active opposition would be enough.
No, because he needs all.
Oh no, he needs also the other city. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's difficult for government to win. So
yeah, he needs to clean up Santiago de Cuba first. Yeah, I haven't seen that it was at passive opposition.
Cool. Good. And Syndicate's got into one of those economic centers, which is a very smart move.
Yes, very nice. Yeah. So it's a good way for them to make money for the people watching us.
Yeah. Tough choice for Directorio now here because they have a very good event coming up next, or they could just take the full turn and they had a lot of money to do that with,
it's always painful when you have 2 cards in a row where you're first eligible because you feel like you're losing one in a way. You're losing that opportunity in the future of the game. So what are those 2 events doing here?
So this first one just lets you switch one piece for one of your pieces, basically. They're a pretty simple kind of event, can be good. The next one lets him put a base and a guerrilla down in Oriente or Camagüey. Probably, though, I think he might just rally and block the shaded effect, which would remove one of his bases. That would be not in there. Because Directorio gains resources and propaganda around for every space they have a piece. So rallying in 6 different spaces right now would be a very strong move for him.
And he's passing to either block the shaded event or maybe take the event himself. We'll see.
Yep.
He's still pretty high on resources. He's been very careful about money.
Yeah. Joe's asking for more. We've
been very.
We've been a little bit into the game, so we'll get a bit sillier maybe later on.
Yes.
Stephen actually asked me to try and channel Alan Partridge, so I'll maybe try to bring in a bit more of that energy later on as well.
Good, we'll try to do that. Yeah, because I think when we were commenting the chess games, I think we were there was less of an audience too, and I think it was a bit more stupid. And I think the game was really about creating fake terms, which actually, you know what, I had prepared a list of fake strategy terms for the game. I have a few of them. I think the Fisherman opening already used it, but I have a few others that I have here.
What would you say some of the classic blunders are in this game?
For this one?
Some classic blunders.
Blunders. What do you mean by blunders? Sorry, I'm not.
Mistakes. The classic blunders, classic errors you can make, classic mistakes, maybe with amusing names.
So I think that for me, especially in the beginning, the biggest blunder that I had was getting too much tempted by events, and losing sight of what I was trying to achieve within a propaganda. So not coming into a propaganda with a somewhat clear objective of what I was trying to achieve, and do the best that I could do to get there. You still have to stay flexible and adapt your objective based on the situation, but you still must have a pretty clear idea of what you're aiming for. And getting distracted by events, it's like, oh, but this is really cool, I couldn't do that if I wanted to, but yeah, but I don't need the thing that the event is giving me, but still getting distracted by this. I think that's the thing. And it did also happen to me, like you see with the sequence of play and everything, sometimes to pass a bit too often, to expect to have a bigger turn later, and passing the opportunity of maybe sometime having a couple of limited up is probably better than just passing and get extra resources that I cannot spend. So I think those were the biggest blunders that I started when I started. And then more than blunders, I think it's really, the thing that is really important is really understand your faction's strength fully. And I think I developed that with the Syndicate, that I played quite a few times in a row at some point, just to better understand their dynamic and how to win with them, how to use the cost marker in an efficient way. I think that's something that I kind of liked. But yeah, I think those were, like, really getting into a faction is probably good. Maybe playing one game of each faction first, and then look at a faction and try to play a few games in a row with that specific faction to get a bit of a sense of how to play them well, would be something that I would do. And also know the key event for your faction, because going back to what I said, I think that each faction have a couple of events that is actually quite critical to them, and know what to recognize. Okay, this is an important one, and the rest I should be focused on what I have to do, and more take an ups and SA, so full turn rather than taking an event, unless like it's Sinatra for the Syndicate, for example, and knowing those, so knowing the deck. I think that's also that's quite important. What would you say?
Well, so I mean, it's interesting you mentioned knowing the deck, because I think that's particularly a feature of the full length Cuba Libre scenario, where you will see almost every card. Maybe not some of the final campaign, but pretty much all of them. And that's really something in Cuba Libre, particularly has these very strong events. Think about. So as the government, for instance, you know that you're going to lose support at least once or twice in the capital. You know that Santiago de Cuba is going to be very hard to hold down, because there's lots of events which put things back in there. So yeah, this kind of stuff, I'd say, is important. Although when you're learning the game to begin with, you don't need to be worrying about that. You should just learn it and play it. I mean, I personally find this learning the deck aspect kind of a bit boring, and it's part of the motivation for adding some new events in the expansion, so you can mix it up a bit, and there's less guarantee that you'll see any one particular event. So.
And regarding the question here from Michael, long wait for first propaganda helps the government? I would say probably not, because the longer they wait, the more resource dense they become. So I guess probably an early propaganda, especially in propaganda 1, might be a better thing for them than a long propaganda. What would you say, Joe?
They don't want it too early, but in general, I'd agree, because their operation cost goes up.
Yeah.
So really, they want it to come as soon as they've run out of resources, whenever that is, if they've used all those resources to get stuff done. So it's actually going to be the latest possible card, which is interesting. Yep, that's true. It's a very fair point. If they could increase support in Camagüey, for instance, they'd be able to keep the US alliance up, which is quite unusual. It's an unusual situation for government support to be this high.
Yeah, actually, that's really interesting. Yeah, because for people to know, so in propaganda, the US alliance track will decrease if they are lower than 19. And actually, they are in a situation to be at 19 in the propaganda. So they could keep US alliance at 2, which means that that could actually be pretty beneficial for them going forward. I'm not sure that the government is going to do it, but if they do, I think that would be really interesting.
Yep, I think that's right.
And regarding Carl's comment, yeah, I think that's also the thing that I would
agree,
say. Yeah, I'm not saying that you should memorize. I think what is important and what I was trying to say is not really knowing the deck, but knowing the key events for your faction is I think quite important. Not really expect them to come up, especially if you play the short game, but know which events are really key and understand why they are key, so you can actually get the full benefit from them when they come up.
Yep, that's right.
And Joe is asking, what are your thoughts on capabilities?
Yeah, I find the capabilities in Cuba Libre are not so powerful, especially compared to the power of some of the events, and also that it's a relatively short game. There's a few I might consider taking, probably not Raoul, maybe Shay, which lets you get into support spaces. Yeah, probably not the other one. I think it was called. And the other capabilities for the other factions really aren't that powerful. Morgan can be good for Directorio. It can let you do a quick surprise attack somewhere. But yeah, in general, they're not so hot. Some of the government momentums are very good, but you only get those for one campaign. There's a variant in C3I magazine which allows government to keep one momentum as a capability between campaigns, which I think opens up some interesting possibilities. So if you're worried about government being too weak, that's an interesting option.
Does it mean that you can keep momentum, like at the end of each propaganda, you can always keep one momentum?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, but that's actually really interesting. I think it's pretty cool, because for me that's always the problem with momentum. I would almost never take them unless they were exactly what I need for that propaganda and it comes up on card 1.
On the first card, exactly.
Yeah, then maybe I would take it, but if not, I would definitely not even consider it.
So there's one capability, I think the MAP, Secret Police, which lets you do a special activity with every limited operation, which is fantastic. Yeah, exactly. Particularly with these shorter campaigns. Okay, so we have a propaganda coming up, but there's still one round left. Yeah. I think that's
interesting.
Right. Exactly.
And the government. So wait a minute, I didn't see the government passed before. What happened?
The government did pass. They had no resources, and the 26th of July rallied a bit, and everyone else passed actually. So we'll see what's happening.
Let's see what's happening. I'm actually curious to see if they're going to push Kamagüey. But no, it's too late. He's back at 17 now, so there is not much he can do. Because he's probably not going to have a full turn. What is the event doing here? So it's Raoul, but the 26th of July.
No play.
Yeah.
But on it. It's not really a great. I wouldn't say. You normally don't want to be rolling too many dice anyways. 26th of July.
Interesting. So far, getting into the first propaganda, which faction would you say is in the strongest position?
Government's doing pretty good.
Yeah, that was what I was about to say. Yeah, I think having a strong hold in Las Villas like this is pretty good. They are uncontested in Camagüey. They probably can clean up La Habana. Maybe they haven't done much in Santiago de Cuba, but I guess that could be a propaganda 2 kind of objective. But I feel like they're in this. If I was the government, I would be happy in that situation.
I'd actually consider even passing now for government, because there's not much they can do with one operation here.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweep would be a wasted operation just before propaganda.
Yeah, definitely. What
are they could do. I don't know. I think they might do a transport and sweep, which would be a mistake. See. True. So transporting 3 troops there would get them control of the space, and then they could leave police there. That's not a terrible move.
Yeah,
they could place a base there actually. They could train and put a base down. Be nice.
Yeah, I'm curious about what they're going to do here. It looks like, this is what they're doing. So they are moving from.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
Transporting in the troops and putting a base down. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's a nice move. Yeah, okay. I didn't expect that. That could be nice. It will let them try and keep control of that casino there, which could be cool. I'd have considered, if you were going to do that, I'd maybe have considered doing it in Matanzas, where there aren't any guerrillas, and then you can maybe build up towards support there.
Yeah, that's true.
Next round. But you don't really need. I mean, you have Las Vegas active support, so you don't really need active support anywhere else.
Yeah.
Particularly. So it's an interesting move. Okay.
And Director is going
how that
for
goes.
Limop. Maybe that would do maybe one last what would I do?
I would just rally into Matanzas.
Yeah, just another rally. Yeah, because an additional space means more money for. Yeah,
You'll
it's
get the
like
resource
a
back. Yep.
yeah, it's like a free rally basically. So having one in Matanzas would be a great idea.
So yeah, Joe was doing a little summary of the resources there after propaganda round, and he's right that ER is going to get quite a lot of money. M26 is only going to get 2, and Syndicate's not going to get a ton. So they're going to be relatively poor, which again I think puts the government in a pretty good position. They're going to be fairly strong here. So slightly slow start for Syndicate. I'd have wanted to get at least one more casino out, I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'm not sure.
So what is he thinking about?
Where to go, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Matanzas is a.
That's where it goes.
Is a pretty obvious.
You could put Gorilla in Camagüey City, just to make sure that you can get there before it goes to active support.
Yeah.
If you really want to just mess with the government a bit. But I'm not sure what he's doing. So Fred, you've only been watching the tournament kind of from a sideline mostly.
Yeah. I've been pretty sick, or not really available for anything. I thought about participating a bit at some point, because you were looking for some guests to actually fill in for the people who dropped off, but I haven't been able to participate. So I've just seen it from far away. Overall, I think that doing tournament is great. As someone who's participated in a few, I think it's a really good opportunity to really get into a game. And also it's a great opportunity to meet with some people. So I've done Cardboard Emperors during COVID organized a few tournaments. So I've done the Twilight Struggle tournament with them. That was really good. Like I've never been like it. I've never played Twilight Struggle as well as when I was in the tournament. So that was really interesting. I got completely crushed, I think, in quarterfinal by someone who was actually a real competitive Twilight Struggle player. But it was great to be talking with him and doing this. Oh, he's getting a.
This is a very funny move by Directorius. So they get an extra resource, as Joe just said, because it costs 0 resources to get on there, and it will deny the government free resources.
Yes,
so
that's actually a really good move.
That's a really bold move. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an excellent move. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Yeah. So here we see, as we said, Jay, experienced player. I think it's a good calculation.
Yeah.
He uses that limited ops to the maximum effect just before propaganda. Yeah, that -3 for the government, +1 for them. That's actually extremely smart. Yeah, really, really good. I didn't even consider that. I was thinking very low level, like recruit a piece in Matanzas, because that's basically free. This is better. Well, you have one piece less on the board, but it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's a really good move. It isn't gonna get him closer to his own victory directly, but it's gonna really take up a whole move from the government, which is huge.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's the cost for removing that afterwards. Like it's a really it's small cost for them, really annoying for the government. I like it a lot.
Yep. Any bets from the viewers about who's gonna win at this point?
Definitely add in the chat your ranking.
Or who you want to win. Who do you think's gonna win, and who do you want to win?
Yeah, but in 2 separate comments, so I can figure it out. But yeah. Go ahead and share your pronostics. You didn't organize any gambling around it, around the
Corey, who's not here, one of the other organizers, Chaos Code, was going to take the bets, the side bets illicitly, because as the sponsors of the tournament, it's illegal for us to take bets ourselves. But Corey isn't one to care about any of the law or anything like that. So
yeah,
taking the bet. He's actually the reason he's not commentating is because he had to go off a grid in order to do that. So he's in an undisclosed location with no internet connection in order to avoid those potential legal repercussions, either international waters or Switzerland, or maybe even in space. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, once he gets there, and if he gets a connection in a secure location, he can always come into the streaming studio. So just reach out, Corey. If you hear this, send me a DM. I'll send you the link so you can join us.
Corey, it's a trap. Fred's trying to get you.
Yeah, I always play for the government. Remember,
gonna tell the course where you
are.
Very nice comment from Matthew there. The community's gonna win. Lovely.
Yes.
I like to see it. Very no, I mentioned exactly. That's right. So they're
resolving the propaganda, right? Yeah.
They're using the little propaganda card piece to show that they're in the resource state currently.
That's really cute.
That's a real yeah.
So I think this is really cute because I've never seen anyone using it, but that's why I ask you to request that it's being added to the board for just of Robinhood, just for because I like it to be there because I never use it myself. I think it's really funny, but yeah, I think for us as commenters it's really interesting. So they are adding their resources.
Yeah.
We see that the government resources are going pretty high, so that's nice.
That's higher than I expected, actually.
Yes, me
too.
I'm actually quite surprised.
They have the 6 from the cash marker. I don't know if that's been added yet.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, if they take this into account, yeah.
They get, well, no, they could be, yeah, so they get 5 from the economic centers, 15 from aid. So that's about right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think government's in a strong position. I agree. That's right. You know, my money might still be on Jay just because he's got a lot of experience, but yeah, have been weaker so far in the.
Yeah. So I think, like based on the board state, I would say definitely I see the government potentially winning, but just that move here from Jay before the propaganda makes me think that he probably has a bit he still probably has a bit to bring to the table. So I wouldn't be surprised that he will come back. He's not even in a bad position anyway. But I think it shows that there are strong skills here. So we could be surprised, but definitely board state government feels really strong.
They actually haven't moved the
Eric.
forward, Marco. But they're doing civic action right now. So we've seen the US alliance go down and civic action in Camagüey.
Oh, they're actually they're not moving the counter. So as we said, no one really uses it properly. So that's
Yep. And there's no agitation. This is actually something I've seen throughout the tournament in quite a lot of games I've been watching. 26th July has this option to agitate when they control a space, but often they end up only controlling spaces with already active opposition, so they can't make use of that. So that's maybe, there's more of a kind of a military strategy that 26th July could pursue of controlling spaces and then agitating during propaganda round, and I haven't seen that happening too much.
And no, Eric, we won't be playing a very civil whist tonight. But I'm planning on doing something about this. So Joe, not this Joe, another Joe. There were so many Joes.
Not Joe by a different Joe.
Yeah, the Joe Klein lives in the city where you have Oliver Cromwell's house. And we're planning on actually going there and record a game of a very civil whist over there. So he's just asking if we can record over there and if we have the authorization, and I'll probably go there and do a recording later, probably in June or something like this.
One of my school friends claimed to be a descendant of Oliver Cromwell, but it's occurred to me since then that quite a lot of people are descendants of Oliver Cromwell just because of how
just about how humans work. I also know a descendant of Cromwell, so I think that's probably So what's happening there? They're still in the support phase.
The exile support for Directorio has arrived in Pinar del Rio, which is much more active than I normally see it. There's a lot going on in Pinar del Rio, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's actually quite a mess. It almost needs an overflow box.
Yeah, so interesting comment from Corey there, yeah. So prized in the tournament, but the board state in this game can get really locked up with active opposition and support. I think that's right. It's a very small board, and then you need to be quite big event to break that up sometimes. Yep, so it can get quite static at some point. I mean, it's worth keeping in mind during the Cuban Revolution. The 26th July kind of rural military wing just hung out in the Sierra Maestra for 2 years, and then the government collapsed. That's kind of what happened. There's a little bit more going on in the cities, but broadly speaking, that's what happened. So in principle, 26th July should just win automatically at the end of the game if they control Sierra Maestra. They're still doing something. Maybe the government's redeploying now. I don't know. Something like this. Oh yeah, there's a. So okay, this is something I would suggest is a little bit of a trap. This is called not enough butter on too much bread. Give it a technical term. The government doesn't have that many pieces compared to all the space they're trying to keep control of. And a single police cube there in an economic center doesn't really do much. So you can use the garrison operation to immediately get into all these spaces. And one piece there isn't enough even to prevent anyone marching in and flipping active. You kind of need 3 cubes in each economic center, or no cubes in each economic center, I'd say.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
And Corey's saying a butter scrapper the worst. Yeah, I think that's good.
Exactly.
Like talking about bread, I made bread again today. Yeah.
You did. I saw a picture of it.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's amazing. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna show you.
Okay. Me and Fred have been both working on baking in sourdough, and Fred's actually a much better baker than me, so I've been getting some top tips from him. That's why there's all these bread metaphors
really important.
coming in. Yep.
Look at this magnificent loaf here. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I need to change that.
Good. I can
Look at those.
That is very good. That's very nice.
Look at those. Yeah, very nice. It's very crunchy. Yeah, it's very very good loaf.
Yeah. I think we could even liken the situation of 26th July to an early sourdough starter at the point of revolution.
Yeah, exactly.
They're bubbling away, a little bit smelly. Haven't washed in a while.
Yes, smelling pungent.
They need regular deliveries of flour and water to keep.
Yes,
going.
exactly, to feed them on a regular basis.
And eventually, you'll get a beautiful loaf of bread. Yep. Okay, the game's starting again, so I should move it back to the game and away from the sourdough. Government's up first. They're taking operation only. Makes sense. Otherwise, they'd lose all those troops in Las Villas potentially. But what are they going to do with that? They could do. I would sweep in Havana personally, and Las Villas. That'll be my move. Maybe Pinar del Rio as well if you feel like it. Another mistake, maybe another bread-related mistake that the government has made here, is they could have redeployed some troops to Pinar del Rio during the propaganda round redeployment, and they haven't done this. So I would certainly have sent a few more troops to Pinar del Rio to that base there. Unless I'm misremembering the Cuba Libre rules, possible that you can only redeploy there if there is government control. That occurs to me now. So maybe I'm full.
So for the redeploy rules for the government,
government
must move troops on ECs or in provinces without government bases to government control spaces that are cities or have government bases.
Okay, so that's an additional requirement that most of the government factions don't have actually. So they cannot move to a base where there's no government control. So they couldn't have gone there.
And then it may move other troops to such spaces and police to any ECs.
Training.
Yeah, or government.
Yeah. No. Okay, that makes sense. So it's actually been interesting for me in this tournament and preparing for the expansion. Going back and playing this, and I was playing Unday and Abyss a bit as well, and looking at some of the early coin games because there are some aspects of them which weren't repeated in later games and are quite intriguing. So, for instance, the government in this I think is even harder than government in some other factions. Very constrained. And there's a few bits in Unday and Abyss which are quite interesting to go and have a look at again. It's nice to go back to the classics sometimes.
And Eric is asking, just a Robin Hood tournament.
Yes,
it was a long time ago. It was 2 years ago or something like this. Yeah. I don't remember, Joe.
I think 2 years.
Yeah, it was 2 years. It wasn't even the final version. Actually, the game, thanks to the tournament, actually got a bit of extra development. We made some adjustments to the game after that. So it was a while ago, but we'll probably reorganize the tournament once the game is released.
Yep.
And yes,
I
agree.
Camembert, exactly. Yeah. Or like I was saying, a little bit of some Spanish cheese and manchego or something like this. Very nice. So I was wondering how you felt about the structure of the tournament, Fred, and what a nice structure for future tournaments would be, and which games in particular might be good candidates for a tournament. One of them
Yeah.
here, actually, I think at least one of the games with British Way could be a good candidate as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think the problem with a game like this, for like a Cuba Libre for a tournament, is that I think for a tournament like this to be interesting, you need a lot more plays, because I think that what would be good is if people have the opportunity of playing more factions. So maybe have at least 4 rounds as a pool thing, where you play each of the faction and then you sum up the scores before going into the qualifying round. And then the round with direct elimination, you would need to have a sort of bidding mechanism for factions. I think
So
would make more
we did a little of this for this one with the first 2 rounds, but yeah, then we didn't do bidding after that. So I agree,
Yeah.
something like this makes sense.
And I think good games. Are you thinking about coin games specifically, or?
I was thinking of coins specifically, but there's other good games as well for tournaments. I agree.
Yeah, I think that I agree that I think that the British way, and we'll see how it goes, how it gets received by the players when it comes there. But I think it could be a really great tournament game. I don't know which entry in the British way would be the right one though for that. But I think that's definitely something that I expect the players to figure out.
So Joe Schmidt here just suggested Cyprus, and that it's short and quick enough that you could play both sides, which I think would be really interesting. So you could play both sides and have some way of working out the kind of some score or something of this.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. Like with the scoring system, if you win straight before the end of the game, or if not, then you just look at the points and you aggregate them over the two. I think a back and forth like you do for Command and Colors games, for example. I think it could be good. I'm not sure I would choose Cyprus in the British way though. That's maybe the thing that I'm probably not agree, but.
I think for one, I've considered is Malaya for the British way, which is more of a classic coin type game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit longer to play than Cyprus. It's true you can play Cyprus very quick.
And yeah,
something like that could work. One issue with coin games in general, I mean, it isn't a bit unbalanced, but particularly with 4-player games can have quite kind of, I guess, like meta-dependent balances and quite dependent on a lot of different factors. And I'm not even sure how you would do bidding, because, for instance, resources have got quite different value to different factions. You can't easily adjust for starting victory points, really, unless you took a kind of victory point negative to play an easier faction or something. So I'm not really sure how bidding would work for coins.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I also think it's probably not a serious enough game in a sense to do a really competitive tournament. So having something like we've been doing a more casual tournament, a more casual pro tournament, of course, is probably the way to go with it.
Yeah. And Joe is saying that there is a lot of government cards coming up. Yeah, that's always, as we said in Propaganda 1, it's always a bit painful when you have those sequence coming up. And
we should focus on the game a bit.
Yeah, I haven't been really paying attention to what was happening here.
So they've done a reprisal in Santiago to try and remove some opposition there, but that does put down a. Oh no, those terror marks have gone. What's happened? Oh no, that was 26 July. Thinking about doing terror. Okay. Yeah, so government's trained in Pinar del Rio and moved it to active support, which blocked 26 July there a bit. And Directorio has moved into Matanzas. And I think 26 July is just thinking what to do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in a strong position.
Yeah, definitely. Michael is asking, red flag over Paris tournament. Yes, I've been thinking about it. And I am waiting for one thing. So there are a couple of people working right now on the Ready the Troops module for Red Flag over Paris. And I would like to, when the module is out and has been tested and we're happy with it, that would be a good time actually to do a tournament, definitely. So I'll be working on this, and I think the way I want the tournament to work is that each player needs to play a back and forth. So you need to play the Commune and Versailles, and then I'll come up with a point system for depending on how each faction wins, they will score a certain number of points and do something like this. I think that's the way I would like to do it. But I just want the Ready the Troops module to be there. I think it will make the whole play experience a lot simpler.
There's a really funny idea from Ian here, Ian McDonald, for a Land of Freedom tournament. So in Land of Freedom, which I've actually played twice this week, there's a collective loss condition. So the idea here is if you foolishly stumble into a collective loss condition, you're all out of the tournament. You all get taken out behind the building, executed. That's it. You're done. Yeah,
good idea. I think that Land and Freedom would make for an awful tournament game, but that would make it, actually, this is what would make it a great candidate, because it's such a bad tournament game. So that would be really cool.
So 26th July just did Terror here and took resources from Syndicate in La Habana. They actually couldn't take resources from government anywhere, so this makes sense, I guess. But it put Syndicate in a really tough spot this early on. One thing, so this is actually another kind of high-end Syndicate tactic, which I've seen in the tournament a few times now, and took me a long time to figure out. When Syndicate profit, instead of putting cash markers down, they can just close casinos. You get free resources for each casino. That's more resources than you normally get for the casinos in the propaganda round. So it's a good source of income, and a closed casino can't be skimmed by the government either. So by the end of this propaganda round, I would expect the Syndicate player to have closed all of their casinos down. It also stops them, being kidnapped from as well. So it's a great move. Get them back in the game, because they're completely out of resources now on the second card of the round, which is terrible.
Yeah, and the shores of the Tripoli tournament on Rally the Troops was really good, and that's why also I think a platform like Rally the Troops make the whole tournament thing way easier. So that's why I would like to wait for this to come up for Red Flag.
Yeah,
interesting. So what's gonna happen now?
Syndicate's trying to figure out what to do, which is fair because they're in a real spot.
Yeah.
And they can't pass. They've got nothing on the next card. They need to do something. I don't know what to do. Not sure. They might want to set themselves up as a spoiler, so put Gorilla and Leslie as a Kamagray, and then ask for resources from someone else. Terror. I'm not sure. Yep. There's actually, so I've seen that Andean Abyss is being implemented on Rally of Troops. So perhaps one option next would be to look at doing a tournament of that. I personally think that the full length Andean Abyss scenario is a bit too long. So hopefully there's an option for a shorter scenario on Rally of Troops. Otherwise, so one issue even with Cuba Libre and with other coin games for a tournament is each game is so long and you need to coordinate between 4 people.
Yeah.
That's been a little bit of a logistical issue during the tournament, although it hasn't been as bad as I anticipated it might be. It's fairly smooth. But with a game like Andean Abyss or Fire in the Lake, it'd be very difficult to coordinate internationally 4 people to set aside, 4 hours for a game.
So what is coming up now?
Lansky's
coming. Yeah.
Lansky isn't really going to help Syndicate that much right now, unfortunately. Also, they haven't correctly reset the pieces, but I think they'll figure out.
So can you maybe tell us a bit about the events that are active right now, that are on the board right now for the people watching?
So Roland Masfera, the government's going to want to block. They probably don't want to take the special activity. So if the government lets someone else take this, it could remove all of that support from LFBS, which would be just devastating. Yeah, so exactly. They need to do operation only. The momentum, if they get it early, can be very good. So you get to do a free assault in a space that you sweep into. Great, really nice move for government, but it's probably already too late in the campaign, particularly in the short scenario, for them to get that, I think. This is a great move to block that. Melansky, again, isn't going to be so good. So either transfers cash around in a space or moves casinos around and opens them. If all these syndicate casinos were closed, it could be a great opportunity to open them up again, then close them down with profit, get more money. Some kind of tax evasion going on there, I guess. Land permits. But in this case, it would let the syndicate move their casinos around, but wouldn't do much else. It's not such a great move. Somebody just given syndicate some money. I'm not sure. Oh no, they closed the casino.
They closed the casino.
They've got more money suddenly. No, but that takes a special activity. I don't know where they got those resources, but that's fine.
Yeah. Maybe there was a trade with no.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be. Matthew is also mentioning the fact that it could be people power could be a good
that's a good candidate,
and I think it's a good candidate too. It's 3 players, so it's easier to manage. Getting players synchronized. It's also a charter, so I think it's an interesting one. But yeah, I would say like for every new game, you also need a bit of a period of adaptation for people to play with it, to see the balance and everything. Like for a game to be a good candidate for tournament, you also need to have experienced player that made sure that the game is not is a good candidate for it. But I would say that based on what I've seen and played for People Power, I think yeah, it's really good potential.
So I mean, I agree with that in terms of a more kind of high-end tournament. We actually had a lot of players in this tournament who were completely new to the game, and they had a good time. So something like a launch tournament that people have could also work nicely, I think. Just people diving in and getting into it. So what just happened? I think government did a sweep in Justin Pinar del Rio, which is an interesting choice. And Directorio is thinking what to do now. It's interesting to me that the government hasn't done a sweep in Las Villas and Havana yet. So those are really vulnerable to terror from
Yeah, I thought that you would throw how we call it, a Las Villas hammer, making sure that Las Villas is fully secured, because he started this at the beginning, making a strong move into Las Villas, so the first half of the Las Villas hammer, but not securing it afterwards, which is surprising. But I think it's probably going to come.
And then in Havana, what you need to remember about Cuba Libre is it's all about Havana. Echeverria. So Echeverria, I was talking to Stephen earlier, and we were talking about the impact of Echeverria in this free-player variant I'm working on. And I think even in the base game, this is almost a Directorio pivotal event, you could say. It has a huge impact. Removes all support from Havana and places 2 guerrillas there. Huge. And you get stay eligible. That's one of these big impact events I was talking about in Cuba Libre. And Directorio is going to play that. That's going to wreck the government position. So this is why I wasn't completely banking on government winning earlier, because they're going to struggle to come back from that for at least a whole campaign, I'd say. So what did Syndicate do? I don't know. Oh, the event. So they used Lenski just to open the casinos and move them around. Fair enough. And Directorio just moving. Okay, so Directorio here moving. Sorry, 26th July, moving into the economic centers, I think. Wait, he's about to rally in the economic centers again. Red, oh no, he's not doing it. It's okay.
No, he's not doing it.
Sorry. He was close to a red card left. I know Directorio doing it before.
Yeah, and we said that they get refreshed after a propaganda, so you can, as long as you don't get too yellow during a propaganda, that's fine. So Matthew is asking, will Fred Serval design a game for more than 2 players? So actually he did 2, they designed 2 games for more than 2 players. The first one was this weird Yahtzee coin game about the first empire of Akkad that works with, I don't know how many was it, like 40 D4s or something like this, making it completely unproducible. But I still think it's actually a pretty awesome system. One day I might actually make it for myself.
Cool game.
It's basically Yahtzee, but yeah, you use the combination of dice to activate operation and special activities. So that had that, and I'm actually we're playtesting right now the Trick Taker game on the first international, which is a 3 to 4 player games. So there is already that, and I might do more in the future. There is a more serious game that I'm working on right now. That would probably never be released, but if it is, we know. But yeah, that is also more multiplayer.
Do I know what that is?
You know what it is? Yeah, it's the
1990s one.
So it's the late 1980s, early 1990s about the collapse of the USSR. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to hint at it without saying what it was in case it was secret or something.
But I already talked about it somewhere. I don't think I keep no secrets to anyone. And Corey is saying he already did. His Discord server is a multiplayer game, which is true. And it's actually it's almost a social experiment at this stage. It's basically 100 people trying to take control of my channel and my podcasts over and over, but also stabbing each other in the back. So that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening there?
Well, here's a small blunder by Sierra Maestra, and I think for rules blunders like this, where you haven't cheated, you just haven't done something to full effect, we're not going to step in. So twice now, 26 July has rallied in Sierra Maestra, and they could have placed 4 guerrillas each time, and they only played 1. I don't think that's intentional. I think they just haven't quite realized how rally works at 26 July.
Should I just jump in and tell them?
No, I think we just need to, because this is about player skill to some extent, about knowing the game, I think, because it's different to to doing something you're not allowed to do. You're just not doing an action to its full effect.
Yeah, because just to clarify, it's twice pop, twice base, so that's 2 for pop, 2 for base, so they could place 4, and each time they place 2, so
Yep.
yeah, but I'm a bit worried about this. So it's Alex who's playing the 26th of July. They're all quite inexperienced. I feel quite bad. I'm feeling about just jumping in to tell them for the next, because they've done it twice already.
Yeah, I think maybe in the halftime talk we could mention it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel bad for them.
Yep.
Oh, and now the director is coming.
Echeverria. So government doesn't have enough resources to get support back up in Havana, which is a big shame for them. Otherwise, they could have kept the U.S. alliance high.
Yeah, people are asking me for intervention. I'm tempted to just intervene. I feel really bad for
you can go for it now.
For Alex. I'm gonna jump in. Just one thing.
Okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Yeah, there is just one thing. So we've seen it happen twice, and we haven't said anything before. But before it happens again, just for it's for Alex specifically. When you we don't know if it's on purpose. We guess it's not. But when you rally, remember that it's twice pop and twice base. So when you rallied in Sierra Maestra, each time you could have actually placed 4 guerrillas instead of 2.
It's only when there's a base.
Yeah. Only when there is a base, obviously. But just for.
Okay. Joe Schmidt, we were hoping to get Jason Karen to sing a song for us, but he's in very high demand. He's an excellent singer, and yeah, he just hasn't been here.
Yeah, they're coming to an agreement for him to add an extra 2 for this second rally. Yeah,
okay, cool. That's very nice. Yeah. Very good sportsmanship from the
sportsmanship. We like it. We like it. That's quite nice.
Yep.
And actually, actually, Sneaky J, I'm gonna call him Sneaky J, was saying, well, I was a bit surprised that you didn't put in the 4 gorillas. I didn't say anything. I thought it might be on purpose. I didn't want to say anything, but I thought it was weird. I was like, yeah. Come on, Sneaky J.
I mean, I will say that having 100 gorillas in the Sierra Maestra, although it worked out historically well for them, doesn't really help you that much in this game. So, it means they'll be able to place a second base there quite soon, probably. Maybe Marchment Oriente, but it's not essential to victory. You're normally better with those spread out across the board anyway. Government is doing a garrison, maybe? Well, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what that means. What do you think, Fred? Sweep and airstrike. Can you airstrike in the economic centers? Yeah, you can.
Can you?
No, but that's an underground gorilla. I think you can.
Yeah,
you can't in the cities.
But it's not revealed, so
I don't know. Not sure what he's up to.
Yeah, province or EC, so that's fine. As long as it's not a city, it's fine, but it needs to be active, so I'm not sure what he's doing.
He could do a garrison to sweep and assault. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes, Michael, that's I'm playing Moscow. I'm just advising the I'm just advising the 26th of July.
So I'd agree that 100 gorillas in Sierra Maestra also doesn't hurt. But
it's better than not having them.
Yeah. This is, I mean, if we're talking about small mistakes people make playing coin games, another mistake I've seen people make many times is somehow trying to keep some of their pieces back in reserve. So in most of the main coin games series, most of the modern ones, you can always remove pieces back to available to play somewhere else if you want. So you always want to have pieces down. There's no downside to having as many pieces down as possible in most of these games. There's some where you're not allowed to do that, and it's important to be aware of its differences. So yeah, he did a garrison there to secure that. EC makes sense. Government's going to be really hurting for resources soon, particularly as they lost all that support in Havana.
And actually, you know what? For the halftime, I'm gonna ping Volko to see if he's around, to see if he wants to jump in.
Sounds good.
Il est où ce con?
Red's just got Volko on speed dial, of course. Hotline. He's just got this big red phone in his office. He just picks it up, rings it. Volko's there. I just noticed that Fred's got Cuba Libre on display in his office, but really tiny at the back. Absolutely tiny.
It's very so that my so I decided and if I don't know if you watched the end of the year video that I did in December, but I said that I wanted generally also to downplay that whole board game
having all
YouTuber
the board
thing
games
about
behind you.
having
Yeah.
all the games and giving people FOMO and saying, yeah, you need to have a big collection and stuff like this. So now I have a very toned down. So I have usually 1 or 2 games there in the background, and it's so yeah, it's a bit more quiet on that side.
That's why I stream from this empty cell, which I live in. Actually, I have an exciting game here, which people are going to be excited by, probably. Let me just grab it.
Oh, wait a minute! I'm going to put you in full. Nice, Mr. President.
Mr. President. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. It's Mr. President. Like it can only be a Mr.
Well, I mean, it's a historical game running up to about 2020. There have only been male presidents.
I'm being cheeky, Joe. That's fine. It's okay. It's okay. You're such the company man. Yeah, you know.
I am the company man. Yeah, I know which side my bread's buttered on. Yeah, I have it set up, but I won't move my computer screen. I've been playing through it to check for mistakes. Everything like this. I think it's passing on Rebel Air Force. Oh, that's an interesting. Oh, because he wants to get Santo Traficante Jr. Yeah. He could have used Rebel Air Force to gain some more resources back from Directorio, which could have been nice. So, not sure about it. I am a board game monk, Corey. That's correct.
And Corey, if you're around and want to come for halftime, you can feel free to take a break from your job and just jump in and join us.
It's actually a little known fact that GMT games are produced like old medieval manuscripts were. So most of my time I spend working for GMT, I'm actually sat at this desk just painting all the books for you. Each book you get, each card hand painted by me.
Yes.
Or one of the other GMT.
You're reproducing each of them. Oh, I'm almost out of battery on my camera. I'm gonna switch camera now. So
okay.
You can still hear me, but I'm gonna be off screen for a while.
And we also sneak in small errors as we go, which is why there's sometimes these errors in the games, because they've all been painstakingly hand drawn, and it means so you know when a new game comes out, it's not actually a new game. It's just that we've made so many errors that we repackage it as a new game. And there's this process of change over hundreds of years as the games get hand drawn from monk to monk. What is so 26th July is using Rebel Air Force here to ambush in Del Rio. Is that a good move? Yep. Get another underground guerrilla there. You can check their base. And Directory is taking a full turn. That was a good move, definitely. Can't go wrong with a full turn. My motto. Now what? I would probably rally if I was Directory at this point.
I'm back.
Did you move to a new location?
No, it's the same location. It's just that it's a different angle.
Okay. You should pretend it's a new location.
It's a completely new location. I live in London, but I have a 12-room apartment, so I can just move around as I wish.
That's because of all those royalties from Rev Lego Paris.
Yeah, exactly. So rich, made so much money out of it. It's insane.
Yeah.
Kids watching us, I would say, just design games if you want to make it. I think make the big bucks. Design specifically historical games about very unknown 19th century revolutions. That's the way to make it big.
High visual correctness rating.
High visual impact. That's the thing. So I design my game mostly for them to look good on an Instagram post first, and this is my thinking. And yeah, just making the big bucks, living the dream. I live in Dubai. I don't pay any taxes. Like
you literally just said you live in London. Like 30 seconds
yeah.
ago. London, Dubai.
I have multiple apartments. I just move around from one to another. So what's happening on the board right now?
Directorio rallying everywhere, which is exactly what I thought we'd do.
Finally,
we're tearing everywhere,
finally.
maybe.
Oh yeah,
rallying makes sense.
I think rallying would make more sense. Yes, it made me a millionaire.
That's it.
And for those who don't know, I actually gave 20% of my royalties to support the strikes in France. So I had so much that I could just distribute. So the fact that the strikes were so successful was mostly because of my donation, obviously.
So it's actually your fault that Paris is on fire.
It's on fire.
They burned down Notre Dame Cathedral and everything. It's awful. Expensive suspenders. Now, Fred, do you think you could, if you were just on the street, do you think you could spot an expensive pair of suspenders?
Yes,
Could
I
you tell
could.
if somebody
I
you could?
definitely could.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's
Can you
I
give me
think
some tips?
it's a skill that no one has, but it's the way it holds the pens. Like the
Okay, so
kind of grip.
it's not about that there's some gold or something. It's just that they hold them particularly well.
It's the quality of the hold, and then it's also the refinement of the design of the suspenders themselves, and the like. I think that's like.
Good to know
Yeah.
this is another thing you and Mark have in common then. A good
Yes,
taste in suspenders.
we're suspenders appreciators. Yeah. So Eric is saying something really funny that I think will make you laugh, Joe. Eric says, "I would like Fred to be my game developer. My dream." Oh my god! If you
I've never
knew,
heard of a
Eric,
worse suggestion.
yes, that would be. Oh, I would be so sad for you, especially if it's someone's first game. Having me as a developer would be awful. I'm an awful developer. I'm the worst. So no, not a good idea, Eric.
You are actually a developer on quite a few games now,
Yeah.
including my game. So I
but
don't know why I'm laughing. I should be crying, really. I'm the one who put myself in this situation.
Oh god. No,
you'll know I didn't invite you to be developer on my next game, Fred.
Yeah, but I would have said no. So yeah.
Okay, I'm glad that we're growing a bit more about this. Oh, he's got the Santo. Okay, so here's a capability being played by Syndicate, possibly just because they don't have any other good options right now. So the underground guerrillas block skim, which is good actually. So that's going to get
actually
them
a pretty good
few
one.
more resources. That's a decent capability. Yep. Yeah. No, that's an okay one. Because it only gets them a little bit more money now, but it's good. Yeah. I'd have considered putting down a new casino in Las Vegas for Syndicate just then, but it's not bad. Eric's got faith in you, Fred.
Yeah, but so the thing that I would say about this is that I think being a developer requires a certain set of skills, and one of them is being well organized, well structured, and I think actually being a native speaker in English is actually also pretty useful, and like that's the thing. I'm more of a sloppy person. I need a really structured developer, and that's why it's always good for me to have Joe. Because Joe has this mix of being well structured, really good at making things clear and everything, but also at the same time, Joe is someone that I can talk about design with. So he's also a sparring partner. So I have everything that I need when I'm working with Joe, and I think I can be actually a pretty good sparring partner when it comes to design. And I think when I've been working with Brian on for example, the work that we've done before P500 on Baltic Empires is a good example of that, like being a sparring partner for design and everything. That was great, but now it's good that you're actually the actual delivery developer for the game, because I would have been awful for it. Yeah.
What I would say is there are different aspects to it. So a lot of what I do, like you said, is basically a mixture of project management and editing, which you need good language skills and good kind of organizational skills. Another part of it, as you said, though, is working on the design itself, and for that you're very good, and that's why I value having you involved as well, and also Stephen. So it kind of depends on what skills the designer has themselves. So I work primarily as a developer, so I don't necessarily need so much of that support as a designer. So having somebody like you or Stephen to help me with the ideas more and to work on the game is great. Whereas for someone like you, just a disorganized mess, you need me to keep you in line.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So we should look at the game again, and I mean we'll get to the halftime bit soon. Government's doing a good job to keep control of the situation, having lost all that support in Havana. Directorio, I think perhaps to nobody's surprise here, is in a pretty strong position. They're creeping up on the victory condition, which is what happens with Directorio. They're keeping Syndicate and 26 July down. Maybe almost unnecessarily, but they're doing a good job on that. And they managed to block government as well, so they're doing a good job of slowly increasing and keeping everyone else down. Yep.
And actually, the government is in a world of pain right now. It's
although they'll get Havana back up to active support. Propaganda around, but they'll be very poor for the second half of the game.
Yeah, that's going to be painful. And how? Yeah, we're on court 25, so the propaganda should come pretty soon right now.
Yeah. It looks like it's at the end of each stack, which is really weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe Vassal did something wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, when it was set up, because it feels a bit odd that the probability for it is pretty low for it to be at the end of each stack each time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to be this far into the first and the second is not like completely unreasonable odds, but 1 in 100 maybe.
Yes, 1 in 100. Yeah.
Hoping for DR July win. I think we might see a DR win. That's my money's on DR.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's he's playing a solid game right now.
Yep.
And that could be actually pretty interesting, and that would be a really good conclusion to the tournament. Because DR was the lowest winning faction, and having a DR win in final would be pretty awesome.
Yep. So interesting fact about that actually, DR their lowest winning, but we had a little bit of a point system for the second and third place as well, and DR's average score is still higher than 26 July. And for DR, I think this is because their score margins are quite small, so they're likely to be close to victory, but they're also likely to not be very far over victory. So they're quite likely to come second or third. And there's another good DR event coming up here as well, so this could push them close. I mean, if they got their act together, it's a little bit tight now. I was going to say we could maybe see an early DR win, but I don't think that's going to happen.
That's a bit, yeah.
No, not quite.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, particularly with that active opposition in La Habana. Actually, their base area is kind of stranded.
Yeah.
Just looking at the menu, seeing what's for dinner tonight, Fred.
Yes, no, I'm just looking at the play rate, just checking something.
So I'd say this event is an obvious pick for 26 July. They don't have many resources, and they could use it to shift Pinar del Rio to neutral, so they can rally there, and maybe Matanzas to active opposition. I wouldn't shift Oriente because Directory are just going to subvert it straight back to neutral. I guess they're considering the move again. Yeah. It's been a good game so far, though, I think.
I think it's been a bit sad for 26th of July in the Sierra Maestra thing, but in the end, if they let him add the guerrilla there, it's not so bad. He can come back. I think he's.
He has all his guerrillas out now anyway. So
everything is on the board. Yep. So now it's really up to him to get serious.
Yeah, same for DR. So DR's kind of reached its natural maximum point. I mean, they have 2 more bases, but after that, they need to spread out a bit more for more control, which is where DR struggles, I think. So they can get up to -2, -1 even, but that last push over into victory is very difficult. Okay, here he goes. Yeah, that's the event. So my pick here would be to shift Pinar del Rio and Matanzas towards active opposition. I think he might.
Pinar del Rio, he's going for it. Yeah.
So there's this strategy or kind of anti-strategy I would call the Oriente obsession, where 26 July can obsess too much about that.
Yeah.
And Directory and 26 July can end up fighting in Oriente the entire game, and they both lose.
Quite a lot. Yeah.
I like the term Las Villas, which is
Oriente obsession. Yeah, I was surprised for Las Villas because it's not like it's like you don't need really knocking down the government that much more. He would be better off increasing his own points.
Yep.
Interesting. So that's not really and it looks like it's going to be the last card of the propaganda once again. So I think it's a bit odd. We'll see what happens in the third one, but it might be a bit of a vassal mishap.
Maybe a technical issue. Yeah. We'll see.
Well, the game is still valid. The game is still valid. Like it doesn't change anything. It's just that there is this lack of randomness. We'll see.
I don't know.
So he's taking the event here.
Yeah, it's a great event. There's 2 or 3 of these events where DR can put a base and a guerrilla down into space, which gives them a lot of options to get into areas.
Yeah, that's the Las Villas counteroffensive. Pretty strong.
Yeah, so he's 3 points off winning now, but where are those points going to come from? He could add another base in Oriente. The 2 points off, but I just don't see 2 more points for him. One rally in La Habana would get you 1 point, but that's active opposition there, so he can't do it. He could march from Havana into La Habana. But again, there was this talk early on about the Havana situation, and I have a feeling DR is going to try and go for that final grab of Havana.
So he still has 1 base to place, right?
He still has 1 base, so that will get him
So that's
to
1 point that would put him to 8. Then he could get 1 from La Habana. Yeah, where's the missing point?
He could march into Camagüey, but that's going to leave him exposed elsewhere. So he could just try to conquer Las Villas again, but that's a difficult fight to win.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be hard.
Putting that base down and then winning Las Villas would do it. But that's tough. Maybe he'll try that. I don't know.
Yeah, but winning Las Villas would be I don't know how we would do that.
It's difficult, yeah. So I think Syndicate's about to place a casino in Camagüey, which I think is a good move.
Yeah.
So
Casino has been the Syndicate has been pretty quiet, but
no, I think it's a good move. And government is quite likely to play this next event, Turismo, which gives both government and Syndicate resources. This is Joe Bayer's favorite event.
I would expect that late propaganda too, maybe to have a bit more casinos on the board.
Yeah, it's been a slow build up for a single one down this round. They didn't come into this campaign with much money. Which is tough spot. I would put that casino down and profit some cash markers down with the other ones right now. Be my play.
Volko connected. Let's see if he answers. And I guess the propaganda would be the next one.
Should be,
yeah. Yeah, and can you tell us a bit about the next event, which is Joe Bayer's favorite event?
Maybe Joe was in Cuba recently, and took a picture of himself trying to look a bit like this. What will probably happen is government. Oh, what happened? We're not even on this one. Strange. Oh no, okay, so that's Syndicate going, and I think they just put the wrong counter down, and they're going to place a base in Camagüey. Yeah, good. So government's going to be active on this next one, and I think they'll take the shaded play here. Basically government and Syndicate are both collaborating on some crimes, I guess, to get some money off tourists. Maybe legal crimes, scamming them in the gift shops or whatever, and they're going to get some money together, which would be good for both of them. So they would add 6 resources each. Be nice. Not quite sure what's taking them. I was thinking what to do with the profit, I suppose. Yeah. What I would do then.
Interesting. I'm wondering, what do you think are taking them so long right now?
I'm not sure. I think maybe the Syndicate player is considering whether to place cash down or to close casinos. But with that Santo capability, I would definitely just take the cash.
Oh.
So I don't know. Is there a connection issue?
Oh, no. He's actually passing.
He's passing instead.
Yeah, he's passing to
I definitely wouldn't have done that, because that money goes to government as well.
Yeah.
It's a strange move. Okay. Maybe there's some kind of collaboration going on between them. We should ask them. So
actually, they're both.
What happened?
They're both passing.
What?
Oh, this is very unusual.
Government did something.
No, they passed.
Yeah. What is happening? Do they just want to stop the other two going? I don't know. Yeah, maybe they want to block the other two from having.
Yeah, they knew that the propaganda was going to come up, and it feels like they both passed to prevent the others from taking a last action before, which I guess kind of makes sense. But I'm wondering what they were thinking about, what led to that move. I think that's really an interesting one.
Do we want to bring them in after the propaganda round is complete?
Yeah, and that's what they're that Barton Chronicle is also saying the same thing. So the next turn is good for both. One gets the event, the other gets the full turn. and they're preventing the two insurgent faction from.
Yeah, they knew the propaganda was coming
and
anyway.
the new propaganda was coming, so I think it was actually a pretty good move. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, because so Syndicate gets the full benefit plus the one resource passing essentially at no cost.
Nice.
No, that's a very good move. Very good point. I wouldn't have seen that. That's some real pro level play.
Yeah, and good high level of collaboration between the two those two factions. So interesting to see. Yeah.
So they must have been discussing that. Maybe one of them trying to convince the other of how it would work. Well.
Yeah, that's why it probably took a bit of time because they were probably talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a little bit of a controversial point about the coin series. I think is this timing of the propaganda card in the event deck and how to play around that. So you know, this kind of move they just pulled off now is something which I think some players dislike or find a bit official, perhaps.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I think it's
fine. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Like creating room for those creating those spaces for collaboration and discussion is actually pretty interesting. Yeah, and now he's doing it.
Okay, cool. So they're done through to the propaganda card. So
yeah, and NBS is saying big brain strat. Yeah, I agree. Pinar del Rio is packed.
Yeah, lots going on there. Cool. Did you talk to them already about coming in at halftime?
No, not yet. I'm gonna jump into the chat when they are what stage are they in the I'm actually probably now is a good time to let them know.
Yeah, go and let them know now and then they can come in once they're ready.
Yeah. Hey guys, I just wanted to ask you, would you be fine once you're done with the propaganda before drawing the next card to maybe come into the stream and just have a quick halftime debrief? No secrets will be asked. No secrets will be asked, but just get a bit of your impressions. Sounds good. Cool. Yeah. Wrap up the propaganda, and we'll wait for you. See you.
Nice question from Eddie here.
How many times I have played Cuba Libre? Well, I guess I need to go and check on BGG.
Oh, you have it logged like a nerd. I didn't log any of my games or rate any games. Just
so the thing is that I only logged. I started logging. I think only 3 years ago. So I would say I probably have 15 plays of Cuba Libre.
My honest answer would be I've played Cuba Libre more times than I will play to. I think I played it a lot. Possibly played it to death.
But you played it multi-handed a lot also.
I haven't played it multi-handed that much actually. So I do play games I'm developing multi-handed a lot, but I wasn't working on this one. I played it a lot. So we used to do like intro games of Cuba Libre maybe every week in the coin server.
Oh yeah, I'm not counting those.
The super short Knives Out scenario. And you know, at one point I was doing one of those a week. So I probably played it 20 or 30 plus times.
Now. I haven't counted. I've done a few of those, and actually Corey and I were talking about streaming one of them, and I think that could be nice. Playing like bringing. So the thing is that on the Coin Discord server, like there was this idea of having some intro games for beginners, and they would be facilitated by more experienced coin players. And the Knives Out scenario for Cuba Libre was perfect for that. I've done a few of those, but yeah, I don't count them in the games that I count because I'm just facilitating those. But yeah, between 15 and 20, but which is decent, but probably definitely not as much as you did play this.
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, 15 or 20 is a lot. I was expecting you to play lower than that actually. I probably played between 20 and 30, so not so much. I played a lot there. Oh yeah, that's what was I going to say? Yeah, so it can be a longer game played at this level maybe, and I was thinking about that, reflecting on that in relation to the Root tournaments that have been played that Rank Cycles have been hosting, because I've heard from those that a pro game of Root can take a really long time. So Root I think of as like maybe a 2-hour game, ideally I would say personally. You know, maybe 3 at push. But those games have been going, you know, 3 to 6 hours apparently at this really high level. And I think not just because they get bogged down in negotiation, but because in Root, towards the end of the game, it can be hard to get those few final points, kind of like we're seeing with Directoria here. So it's just that it takes a lot more turns even to the final few points. I'm skeptical about whether I'd want to play route for that long in one sitting, personally.
Yeah, that for me 6 hour route would definitely be in the well, it would be doing what I don't want Root to do. What I like about Root is it's yeah. So for me, the best way to play Root is under a blanket in the sofa on the Switch with you guys on Discord and just insulting each other. That's the way to play Root. It looks like the players are probably going to start joining us soon. I think they are almost done with the propaganda right now.
So we've got government in terms of scores at halftime. We've got government and Directorial neck and neck.
Yeah,
really close. What's happening to the? Oh, right, they're still finishing the propaganda round.
Yeah.
Okay, so government's actually even higher up now. 26 July is really lagging a bit. Syndicate's doing okay. Yeah, they're maybe -4 or so. 24 -4. So yeah, but 26 July can really explode.
Yes.
One big turn of terror, they can go way up. So we could still see it.
I think that all of the factions now, like at halftime, actually have a shot. I would say at making it. So, but I'm feeling good about the Directorio. But I think those comments we should keep to ourselves for when they're coming in. But yeah, we'll ask more questions than anything, and we won't say too much. But I think it's interesting. It looks like they're wrapping up things. Well, while they're while they wrap up, I'm gonna get a glass of water here. I'll be back in a sec. I'll let you entertain the people again.
I'll not start singing. Do that. We can put some music on. Don't know. Can I do that? No, I don't think I have the skill to put music on. I don't even have that. Okay. I'm gone brain dead trying to think of how to entertain everyone. I don't know. Okay. Any more questions from the audience that we could answer in this break? Snacks too, very nice.
I also took some snacks. So I took so that's so you know those are the waffle biscuits.
Yeah.
But this one is from Taiwan, so it's a sesame one, so black sesame. It's really, really good. And then the other snack that I picked up is those. So I don't know if you know those. So those are dried plums, extremely sour. And I love this. I grew up on those, and I'm completely addicted to it. But each time I make people try, they always almost puke for some weird reason.
You do like really disgusting food.
Like I think it creates a pretty aggressive reaction when you're not used to it. But I grew up on them, so for me, I find them just extremely pleasing. But yeah, people are disgusted by them.
Wait, what happened to the government base in Canada Rio? When did that get destroyed? Oh, with the ambush, the 26th July ambush, maybe.
Oh yeah, Lee. I just left the mic open, but it was on the list. I don't have a mic with me. I don't have a lavalier or something like this, so you wouldn't hear me pee, for example. But yeah, it's a more casual.
I'm sure that's happened. I'm sure that's happened in some of our games.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah,
probably Maurice. He's always going for pee.
I think it happened to Sean.
Sean, surely, yeah.
Sean. You know, he was at some point when he just got his like fancy iPods, earphone, like AirPods. Yeah, I think there was a moment where we might have heard him pee. Pretty sure. And Jerry,
that's the real experience, though. That's the real life gaming experience. What you want?
So Jerry is asking, would there be more coin tournament in the future? So we started talking a bit about this, but yeah, do you want to answer that?
I think it's very possible. I'm not sure I'll necessarily be organizing them, but it's something me and Corey have discussed, and Eddie, who helped with this as well. And if anyone else is interested in trying to help organize them, we'd love to hear from them. It hasn't been. Oh, we got some. I'll say of the tournament, the organization hasn't been. Hey, everyone, hasn't been too difficult. It's been fairly kind of self-organizing, but there is a little bit you need to do. So there's a bit of work involved.
Oh, well, one of you might be also watching it, but we can hear a feedback loop. I don't know which one of you it is.
GM8T. You gotta mute Discord.
Okay, we got it.
Okay, we got it. Okay, good. I'm gonna remove this for now. I'm gonna bring everyone in. So, how are things going? We're curious to hear about you. And oh, Anthony, yeah, here you are. So let's start with you, Alex. So, how do you feel overall?
Horrible.
Horrible.
I felt I had a really good start, but I couldn't make anything out of it, and I'm still at the same position at in the start. I feel like
couldn't have had a better start.
Yeah.
So you feel horrible. Good. I think we were talking about it with Joe, and we feel pretty confident that all of the factions still have a pretty decent shot at winning. So I think you shouldn't beat yourself up too much. You can do it. And historically, yeah, they fucked around in the Sierra Maestra for a while. It's fine. You're just finding your place in that revolution. You're gonna do okay. So keep believing in you. And you, Anthony, how is it going?
I could not have asked for a worse first card. When that came out, I think everyone in the chat could just hear me groan, because that was just it set me back in almost an entire campaign. So I'm feeling a little bit better than I was in the second campaign at this point, now that I'm not dirt poor.
Yeah, it looks like the second campaign is actually going pretty well for you compared to the first one.
That first one.
And you, Jay? So, Jay, we must say that was quite a lot of reaction to your final move of the first propaganda, with the move to the EC, which was a free move because you're moving into an EC and preventing 3 resources to the government. So there was a lot of people appreciating. We're like, Jay, strong move, good player, nice. We thought it was pretty naughty. We liked it. How are you? How is it going for you?
Good. We got to keep our feet on the necks of the syndicate and the government, keep them poor. That's the only way the July 26th and us can win. We just got to keep on it.
Nice.
The government's good and poor right now. I love it.
Yes.
So how is the government going, Jean-Maria? What's up?
Well, that's hard. It's not easy not to feel overwhelmed by all the things which are going on on the board. You have Directorio trying to rally here and there. Directorio prevented me to earn 3 resources, and I'm really short in resources just right now. But I couldn't think of next propaganda without buying some civic actions here and there. Otherwise, I would have lost control in the most important cities, Havana, and I think also Santiago de Cuba. But then when you play the government, I feel like you have to do some choices, and sometimes you have just you concentrate, you focus on something, but you are leaving everybody else doing their own things, and that can be a little bit difficult to manage in the long term.
Okay, we had one question with Joe. We realized that on just before the last card of the second propaganda, the syndicate passed to make sure that both the government and the syndicate were the ones taking an action on the last card of the propaganda. Was that a negotiation that was happening? Yes. Also a smart move. So we've seen 2 smart moves just before the propaganda. That was really interesting. So that's interesting. How are the negotiations going overall? What's the dynamic within your small group?
There are very, very clearly 2 sides here. There are the insurgents, and then there are those who just want Havana to have a nice tourism economy.
I did offer Fidel a base in Las Vegas, and he turned me down.
Can you comment, Alex? What?
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about this, but I had the feeling that I couldn't defend. Like I already had this base in Pinar del Rio, which was in support, and I would also be in support in how's it called, the mountain space,
Las Villas. Yeah.
Las Villas. So I didn't see a way to keep both, or maybe even just one up. So I opted for the safer option now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for coming in and giving us a bit of an update. I guess we can go back to the to playing the game. It looks like a really tense game. We're pretty excited to see what's gonna happen. But thanks for that first half already. It was pretty exciting.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and people are telling you good luck for the second half. So yeah, you have a lot of supporters. It's going really well.
Great.
Thank you to the supporters.
Yeah. See you again in an hour and a half or so. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well.
Well, Fred, check they reset before they start. I think they'll do it. I'm just gonna go and grab a drink. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. Well, then I'll entertain people while you're
You need
out.
to sing. Yep.
I need to sing. No, I'm not really a good singer. I think we're gonna lose some viewers if I start singing. So are there maybe questions that we have in the chat while we're waiting for Joe? You can ask stuff about Joe. I can tell mean stuff about him while he's out. So feel free to ask anything you want to know about him, or anything really. You can just ask. I'm actually quite curious to see. I think that 26th of July has a good shot. I think they can still make it. Alex felt like it was a bit beat down, but I think he actually has a pretty good opening here. So, oh, wait a minute. What the hell is happening? Oh, my God. Oh, this is insane. This is insane. So they have 2 propaganda in a row. Am I hallucinating? Oh, this is nuts. Wait a minute. I can see. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you all see like me. They do have 2 propagandas in a row. So it is an extremely unusual game. So the first 2 propaganda came on the last card of the deck, and and the next one actually came on the first card of the. Oh my God. I need to check the rules because I think there is something about that. I'm actually curious about that specific case. That's really, really, really interesting. So if someone is actually can have a look at the rules. Actually, Joe is here. Joe, the first card that they draw of the new propaganda is actually a propaganda card. What's up with that? Yeah,
That can happen.
that can happen, right?
That can happen. That's just something that can happen. There might be a rule about this. Do we need to check the rules?
Yeah, we probably need to check the rules.
I think there might be a rule that says no 2 propagandas in a row. So you might need to. Oh my goodness. Okay, we need to check this out, and then I'll answer some of the questions from the chat.
Yeah.
You want to talk to them quickly and check they clear on what's going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna go and get the.
This is like there's been a pitch invasion or something. This is absolutely shocking.
I'm gonna check with them. Give me a sec.
I have to check the rules real quick. I'm not actually sure that it's forbidden in this. In some of the other games, it is.
Yeah, never more than 1 in a row. Kali's saying.
Okay, so I think they might draw the other one instead. Yep.
Yeah, that's what they did.
What have they done? Have they done that? Yep. Oh, so you just skip it. There's no.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So you have an exception here in the propaganda round. So a 6.0 exception. Okay. Never conduct more than 1 propaganda round in a row without at least 1 event card in between. Instead, additional propaganda cards are played without a propaganda round.
Wow. So this actually means that government is really stuck. They've got no money for the rest of the game.
Yeah. That's their last propaganda, and they are dirt poor.
So that is a real surprise. So we were complaining about those propaganda cards at the bottom of each stack, and now it comes right at the top. So that's just how it goes sometimes. And this is so I was saying earlier about the earlier coin games and some of the design choices that got maybe more kind of smoothed out later on. This is something in the first few coin games. You have these propaganda cards just shuffled in completely randomly, and this can happen. And it adds kind of a wildness to it, which I think is exciting.
Yeah, there was one chance in 1,000 for this to happen. This is insane.
Yep. 1 in 1,000. And we were saying earlier we played maybe 50 games of Cuba Libre between us. That's nowhere near 1,000. Amazing.
No, so Volko won't be able to make it.
That's okay. Yeah, so there's an option for the no sudden sudden propaganda, which wouldn't avoid this, and there isn't strictly an option for stacked or seeded propaganda around cards in Cuba Libre, but lots of people play that way. So lots of people shuffle the card in the bottom 5 or 6 or so of the deck.
Yeah, that's a pretty brutal for the government. Yeah, I'm sorry for Jen Maria. That's
yeah. No, that's not going to no. I'm looking at Batista Fleas, but it's not going to be any use. That was absolutely brutal. I'm sure they'll be talking about that later. And, yeah, so it's something people discuss a lot, whether they prefer having a sudden propaganda option and also whether they prefer having the propaganda card shuffled in a bit further into the deck as well.
I'm just gonna jump into their chat to ask if Jen Maria has rage quit.
Yeah. No, he's acting now. He's going.
Hey guys, I'm just checking in. So that was pretty surprising, and we're wondering if Jen Maria rage quit this double propaganda. How is it going? So yeah, you just skip to the next. So that means that you're in final propaganda now. Yeah, good luck with that.
That's amazing. So the final propaganda round could be 20 cards left.
Yeah, exactly. It could be so imagine the government with 4 resources having to play through 20 cards. Oh my god. But then again, he has the opportunity to pass for most of the time, get a bit of resources, and actually play a full propaganda.
Yeah, so Board Game Chronicle here says there's an option to make propaganda one of the last 4 cards. This is so the free player variant, including in the expansion, will have rounds of 10 cards, which is what People Power does. And that will have the propaganda card shuffled in the bottom 4, so you'll have more of a steady kind of pace for that one. I think in general it's better, although I can understand why you might want it more random than that sometimes.
Yeah. And Chip is asking, what is the French for rage quit? I'm not sure there is a French for it. So
there's something you might say though about somebody who quite says, I'm sure.
Can you say?
I'm sure it happens in France sometimes.
Yeah, but I don't think we have a term for rage quit specifically.
Okay.
I have to think about it. If I think of something, I will let you know.
Probably because you're not nerds.
Yeah.
Things to be doing.
Yeah, and that's a good point for Michael.
It's really rough syndicate. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they need time to put these bases down. I mean, someone else was saying it takes time for Directoria to build up as well. So maybe this is what 26 Chile needs to win the game, because they have maybe So Directoria are the only one who have got access to money from outside of the game, if that makes sense. So it's probably going to benefit them most.
So yeah. Alon is saying section 238 blue section.
Oh yeah, the feeding the deck. Yeah.
Yeah, so the propaganda option. Yeah.
That's different so with sudden propaganda you could still have 2 in a row. It's a little different way.
That wouldn't change anything because there would be no swap to do.
Well, no, you couldn't have 2 in a row because
because you would have swapped anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But still, you would have at most 1. Yeah.
I'm not sure it would have made things better.
No. Pretty dramatic though. Interesting. So government, I think, did a sweep in Las Villas, which wouldn't have been my choice, but interesting. And Syndicate, I think, just put another base in Camagüey, which makes sense.
Maybe he sees the Directorio as the faction the most in a position to win and is trying to prevent that specifically.
Yep. But we have Far Shaman coming up here who's just going to put some more drills into SVS, possibly. I don't know. Yeah, I did not expect to see that. That was really quite something. So, is your money still on Directory at this point?
I think the Directory can win.
Yep. I think with this long last round, they're in the best position for that.
They're in the best position. I think they are definitely in the best position to win with those 2 propaganda in a row.
Yep.
I'm definitely not bidding on the government. I think it's going to be hard for the syndicate. And yeah, I think the director is probably in a better place. I think the 26th of July has a good shot, but they felt defeated when he was on stream. So it really depends on the mindset. And I think Jay felt pretty confident. I think that plays that has a big role.
Yep.
There's some pointing here. So I guess the pointing is for negotiations. So they're pointing on Camagüey and Oriente. I think there are discussions.
Yeah. Oh, so he's just rallying? I see, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing only rallies, blocking the event.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Because otherwise one of these bases could get switched for 26 July 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
Smart. Oh. It's taking it back. What's happening?
That's okay. Have you lost it?
No. I'm just wondering where is his pawn? Yeah.
Oh, I think he's maybe finished his turn. I think he's done his rallies.
Okay. Yeah.
He's got so much money.
Yeah.
Did he just get that from the last propaganda round? I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had like 9 or so before. I suppose so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that happen. Yeah, he's in a great position. He can really just grind everyone else down now, I think. Yeah. I mean, I think anyone could win depending on events, but if DR plays smart, they can just grind it down the opposition. That's fine.
Yeah, I think so too. And to your point, Board Game Chronicle, I think Gordon has a shot at winning, but I think the resources is going to be really like a big problem. Unless they get an event that helps them quite a lot, I think it's going to be really too much.
If they can stretch it to final propaganda without anyone else winning, they might have a chance to build back some of that support. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I would bet on Directorio already now.
I guess 26 July is considering what to do there. But
considering their options.
I would actually rally a guerrilla into Oriente for 26 July, and then ambush her if she's done. That'd be my move. That'd be a nice one.
Actually, this opens up to an interesting. So this comment from Comadieb is actually opens up to an interesting question regarding what are the simplest factions to start with. So if you say you're a beginner player. And you're getting into Cuba Libre, or you're organizing a game with beginner players, which faction would you give them? And I would agree with Comadieb that DR and 26 would be probably the easiest faction to work with. What do you think?
Yeah, that's right. I agree. DR, so they're probably equally simple. DR is maybe slightly easier because you are just thinking about control, so it's almost more like a standard area control game. Whereas with 26 July, you need to think a little bit more about position and how that works. But yeah, those are definitely simpler. Syndicate often win in games with new players that are quite boring to play, I would say, if you're new to the game. Because there's less room for negotiations, no one else really knows what they're doing. So it's quite common for the person teaching the game to take Syndicate or Government and then win with Syndicate, which is kind of a problem sometimes, I think. But certain kinds of players prefer that, like quieter end pace. Maybe somebody who's more used to playing economic games might enjoy playing Syndicate.
Yeah, and Ian calculated the odds for this. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So around 1%. So yeah, 83% chance of 9.83% chance of it happening. So I think it was less than 1 in 2,000 for the sequence that we've just seen. That was really unusual.
Yeah. 26 July is really contemplating options there, aren't they?
Yep. Yeah. So Board Game Chronicle is saying DR is really daunting for most new players. 26 seems more straightforward. That's an interesting point. What would you say that?
So I mean, it's true. So 26th July can get away with just doing rally and terror the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
Directorio probably needs to attack occasionally, maybe march occasionally as well. So there's a little bit more to think about in Barracks, I suppose. Yep. Huh. Nice comment. Some nice stats from Ian there, giving a resident coin mathematician run for his money, Severio Spagnoli. The kind of commentary we have from Severio normally. Yeah, so this is a really important thing to think about with these kinds of probabilities is not just per game, but how many opportunities per game do you have for this event to occur? So that's a really nice point there. So 50 games between us, it's not such a surprise that we've seen this happen. What is a surprise, I think, is then also for that propaganda card to come up first.
Yeah, to come up to be first. I think for me that was. I wasn't too surprised for the 2-1 at the last. I think it can happen, but the combination of having the other one being the first one, that's pretty big.
Yep. But it happens. There are thousands of this game played across the world, and this happens to be one of them that we're in. Maybe strange where it happens to be the one we're streaming. So 26th July is interesting. Maybe to try and get the prelim up from a Mafia offensive.
Oh, so they passed. Okay, interesting.
Yep. Oh, I guess they're fairly low on resources. I suppose that makes sense. But you need to. So passing. Okay, this is another thing I see players doing sometimes in coin, passing too often happens. I'm not sure if that was a bad pass, but people do pass too often sometimes. I've seen you do it, Fred.
Yeah. I've done it in sometimes in the British way. I'm waiting for something better, and yeah, I've been guilty of that sin quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess technically working out what to do now. Game seems to have slowed down a lot with this sudden surprise. I guess it's really disoriented the players a bit.
Which is fair. Now they know that it's the final propaganda that I didn't expect for it. This final propaganda could come in 17 cards, which is completely nuts. Yeah. So there is a lot to take into account. There is 6 cards to come that they know are safe, but yeah, it's a really. I think there is a lot of things to consider here. I'm really curious to see what the Directorio is going to do and when they are going to do it, because I think the timing is going to be quite critical.
Yes. They need to try and predict when the end of the game is coming, don't they?
Yeah, and Jay is probably going to try to think about this, setting himself up, being prepared, and when he thinks the propaganda can potentially come, start attacking the government. Because basically, right now at this stage, for me, I see it as a game between the government and the Directorio.
You think so? But what happens if the Directorio just attacks the government now?
I think it's too soon.
But what can the government do?
What can the government do? Not sure.
Nothing really.
No.
Directorio could just start ambushing, attacking, and Las Vegas over and over again. Just grind them down. There's nothing government can do now. I mean, that's not so far from the historical situation, late 1958. Government just losing their will to carry on, really. Yep.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen.
Great. So Ian's clarifying that 0.83% chance is the chance of one propaganda followed immediately by another, which I agree that's the really kind of freak occurrence, and that's not so unusual in a respect. We were commenting on that coupled with the other one being right at the end of the stack, but that's maybe less interesting. I agree that it's the one immediately by the other is a probability that's particularly relevant, and that's about 1%. Yep. So not so unusual to see that at all. Certainly, I think that's right. What is happening? So there's a nice event for government coming up actually next, the coup. That will really help them in the city to get rid of the Directorio. So I'd expect them to play that just because they have no money anyway.
Yeah, they were quite
Really
slow.
take their time. Yeah. What could they be thinking about? So Syndicate up next. They've got. I guess they're discussing maybe, but
I'm gonna check if we
I
missed
don't know.
some question in the chat because it's a bit more quiet now.
Yep.
So Kat is asking. So that was when the propaganda was. Is their channel just anything screaming now? I haven't listened to but it might have been that when the second prop came in, and then Ian was asking, what are the factions in my game on Soviet succession?
Right.
And I'm not gonna talk too much about this yet, but it's gonna be a bit unusual. That's the only thing I can say. Michael is asking, based on the cards that we've already seen, are there any other cards still out there that can give cash to the government? I think there are a few still, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple. Definitely. Maybe.
I'm gonna go and
there's
have a
one
look at
that
the deck.
can increase the US alliance. So there's the US ambassador can increase the US alliance, maybe give them resources. There's a foreign press tour, but that doesn't give government resources, but they might convince someone else to share the resources. I'm not sure. So the Turismo is the really big one, which gives government resources. So I'm not sure what other ones there might be, actually. There's some that give them cash as well.
Okay, let me check.
Sure.
Looking at the deck right now. Did we have Brack coming up already?
No.
So Brack could have some resources.
Yep.
Ambassador Smith, I don't think we had him yet.
No. Does that add resources? I think it just increases the alliance.
It only adds, it increases the alliance, and then puts the aid up, but it brings syndicate resources, not for the government.
So the syndicate just paid to open a casino, which I think was a big mistake at this point. Although no, it's not actually. That's not true, because they have to do that actually because they're not going to get to reopen them at reset. So they need to pay to open them and then get some more resources. Yep.
I don't know if we came through comrades already.
No. Does that? Oh, that gives them funding against the communists. Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a few that can give them money. Yep.
Yeah, there is a few of them that are still there that we haven't seen. So yeah, Michael, they do have some options of potentially getting an event that would give them a bit of money.
Yeah. What does 26th July think it's doing in Havana? That's my question. What?
Yeah, I'm actually quite curious.
Oh, Mafia Offensive. It's a terror attack using a syndicate piece.
Nice.
Yep, very good. That's why they passed to try and do that, and they pulled it up. Yeah, maybe with syndicate discussion impact. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, government. If I was government, I would certainly play this coup card now. It's
Yeah.
Sierra Maestro Manifesto is going to help 26th July as well. They put them in quite nice position, actually. They're going to put down then last two bases, probably. So that's interesting. Yeah, government's taking the event. Yeah, good choice. They can get rid of all those DR pieces in the cities, which is very good. Are you just shuffling the cards now, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at I'm looking at stuff.
Okay.
Is it loud?
Not that. Well, I can hear it. It's not too
Okay.
loud.
So it's okay.
This coup card's interesting because it has effects which both government and the government might want to take either of at different times.
Yeah.
Doing interesting design. There's actually anyone like working on coin designs, I would recommend looking at some of the event effects in Cuba Libre because I think it's probably got some of the most imaginative and unusual kinds of events compared to some of the games.
So actually, Comadia, it's funny you say that because one of my kinks is listen to Joe update the TTS module. So he's actually just like grumbling, like and just changing stuff, and I hear clicks, and then I hear the nice shuffle sound of shuffling cards in TTS, and that's one thing that I like to listen to get a bit of a quiet time. So it's called TTS ASMR, but that's basically the same idea.
Well, we haven't done it in a while.
No, we haven't done it in a while. That's
true. Shame. We've actually got one of the players in the chat here. Shocking. Alex in the chat.
What the fuck is he doing here?
Yeah. That's okay. He's got his spies, his little communist spies everywhere.
Yeah.
So actually, this is one gripe I have with this game. If Volko or Jeff are watching, there's a few events which I think, and even the rules describe the 26th July movement of communists. And I think at this point in history, it's pretty clear that they weren't, for at least most of the membership, a communist movement at all. They were, a kind of leftist nationalist movement. Che and Raoul and some other members were certainly communist, but most of the rank and file weren't communist at all, I don't think. And there was a big split after the revolution with this.
And it's interesting we're mentioning
the
the comrade card that we were saying. So add lesser of.
This is fine. It's fine. There were certainly communists joining the movement, but they weren't. And there was certainly some Soviet influence suspected, but the movement as a whole, and possibly even Fidel Castro, weren't communist at this point. Is Alex passing on Sierra Maestro Manifesto?
Yes, apparently so. Surprising.
No comment. Because he's watching.
Yeah. Why is he passing?
I'm not sure.
Do you think he wants to prevent the other from doing it?
The Sierra Maestro Manifesto?
Yeah.
Or the next event? I
So
mean, he can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Because he would stay eligible if he takes the event, for example.
He would. He may have not seen that, but it's up to him. Yeah, it's only 3 communists, exactly. The 3 communists are Raul Castro, Che Guevara,
maybe not even Fidel.
Not Fidel. I'm thinking of another one. There's probably another one who I can think of. Was Juan Almeida communist? Maybe.
I'm a bit shocked by the 26th of July passing now.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Yeah,
I'm a bit shocked. Why would he do something like that?
Yeah. They're really flagging up about DR control. I'm not sure what's happening there. Maybe try and stop. Oh, is DR at victory? Oh, because they did this ambush in Las Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. However, that's a little bit early. So this is what you were saying, right, Fred?
Yeah,
maybe DR
it's too soon.
Waited to make their move, because now everyone's going to be pouncing on them. Because the propaganda card can't come up for
before. That's the thing. I would have waited 4 cards. I think them getting themselves at victory was a mistake. Now they had time to do it before.
Although the government can't really respond very effectively, so maybe it's okay.
So I think the trade that came up is that. So I think that's what happened.
The syndicate would take the Sierra Maestro.
Yes, and they would take the event. Yeah, and they would say eligible.
Do you think 26th July knows they're allowed to place bases with this?
No, but then again, I'm not going to say anything. This is really too important. That's really up to them. Like, it's written pretty clearly.
I think it is. Yeah.
It's non-casino pieces. I mean, it's pretty. That's really up to them. We're not going to save them again. But yeah, I would have placed the base. Yeah. Maybe they're going to. Yeah, I don't know.
That's fine. We'll let the players figure that out. So this is something which, was really great about the tournament so far. So like I said, it's been fairly self-organizing. We've had to step in to help things a few times. But also, players have just been really kind and friendly to each other. So it's been a really kind of good attitude and good atmosphere for the tournament, which is what I would expect. But it's been great to see. Sierra Maestro. In card faction order, each faction may place 2 non-casino pieces in one space where they already have a piece, and the executing faction stays eligible. We will see. So they should all be placing. Yeah. So There we go. Diaz placing some pieces there. I think Diaz in a pretty solid position now. So this is a fairly classic. I call this the spine of the world strategy. So they're in a they've got all of these force bases here, and if they can control all of those and have all 4 of their bases out, that's a winning position for them. Just controlling the heart of the country, basically.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm wondering what kind of trade came in.
Yeah, I don't know, because 26 July could have just taken the event and then
Yeah, exactly. But maybe
So-
what happened there is it's possible that the syndicate asked for 26th of July to prevent the government from taking the event afterwards, to have a bargaining chip. So saying, well, the money, you're going to get it from me and not from an event. So maybe that's
this
what
event won't place government resources, though, comrades. It's the lesser of aid. Yeah.
Oh.
Wouldn't place any. So.
Oh yeah, so I don't know what happened there. Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we've got Smith coming up as well now, like you said. Yep.
So
this would increase aid, and then it increases syndicate resources, actually. So
yeah. Yep. So that's good for syndicate, and that also pops up the alliance one step.
Yeah. And maybe syndicate could agree to send some of these resources to government or something like this.
So just to answer your question, Komadiab, so he couldn't have placed 2 base in La Habana because there is already one, but he could have placed one, and but then again, he could have placed 2 base where there are none. So for example, in Matanzas, he could have put 2 in Matanzas, 2 in Camagüey. He could have, yeah. And actually, now he's marching into Havana.
He's using Comrade to put them there. So this is some of the urban 26 July underground. Yep. I would say.
Okay, so we're taking that event, but I'm wondering what kind of deal came up for that. Government is passing.
Yep, no choice really.
Yeah, I don't really have a choice yet.
I think it could go again, but probably wants to pass and go first on the next card, and then Directoria can just continue to build up position there. So if the propaganda card comes up pretty soon, I think Directoria is going to be in a good spot here, even to win a diplomatic victory, actually. And let me just have a look at. So Syndicate is on -1 on bases, and they're standing to gain quite a few resources now. 12, and then a lot from cash as well. Should put them over. So yeah, Syndicate's in a pretty strong spot now.
They're not passing to get the event.
No, this is good. I would do that. I would just take the
they're going for urgent. Yeah.
Yep. I realize now we can take full turn straight away. So yep. A Syndicate, I would consider even possibly not, maybe just opening the space in Santiago de Cuba. Yeah, exactly.
That's what he's doing.
Maybe I'm not sure. I put another one down there because it takes you a full turn to open it up again. Oh, Fred, can you intervene? You can't build a base and open a base in the same space.
Oh yeah. Casino, you mean?
Yep, casino. Yep.
Hey, just a rule thing. Yeah. Okay, there. You already got it. Good.
Cool.
Yeah, they got it. They were. Jay was.
They were just switching. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay was already talking. Was already saying that it wasn't possible.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. But this is the right move, I think, because now they're on the 0 point on open bases, open casinos. They probably don't need to get to +1. They just need to make sure no one else is at +1, I would say. So if they can stop Directoria winning, they'll probably win just with the cash they get at the end of the game.
Where are they at the cash right now?
They're on. They're building something else. They're going to be on. They're braving, I think, 7. But they're gaining. So they're gaining 14 just from these bases, plus another 12 from cash.
Yeah.
So that's.
So
that's 16 already. That puts them nearly 8. So if they can get up to 30 resources, that'll be okay. They're braving there in Camagüey. Yep. Or profiting maybe. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it looks
like so they've got a lot of money.
He's in a really good position. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a small other thing people miss sometimes with these cash markers. You can use them to open casinos too. So even if some of these casinos get closed, you could use the cash during the reset for the resource phase to open it. Yeah, so he's in a good position. I think this will be either Directory or Syndicate.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight.
And it will depend just on the timing of these events.
Yeah.
Poor government. It's pretty sad. I
Yeah,
was
government
doing
is.
I was multi-handing a game of the free player version recently, and government just passed the whole of the last campaign, which is quite sad to see.
So director is
You
gonna
have no
take their
choice.
full turn. I'm wondering what. Yeah.
Ambush there, I would
Yeah.
expect.
That's
Because
what I
they
would
just need to keep
expect.
control of it. Yep.
Yeah.
And they can just spend one resource doing that. You know, they could even just attack 26 July and Matanzas and Kamagoi for the hell of it. They have the money.
They could. Yeah, that would.
I think
And
Jay is
actually,
too
yeah.
careful of a player for that, but they could afford to. They removed the police there, so it's going to be harder to
Yeah.
as well.
Smart.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is very good. There's another open casino for free. Yep, no brainer.
Yeah, that puts them at +1. Actually, that's pretty good. They win on the tiebreaker against the Directorio too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
here's a chance for victory 26 July has. They'll have to go head-to-head with government. But they could try to get Havana to active opposition through terror. Be a real bold play. It could happen.
Actually, they technically can do it.
Yep. They have those 3 guerrillas right now.
Yeah. So that's enough.
It's possible. Maybe that's what they're going to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to try, I think.
Yeah.
And they can increase terror elsewhere as well. But this is even more horrible for government because now the main way for 26 July to win is going to be trying to grind down.
Yeah, to punch them down, and it's going to cost them so much. Yeah.
And yeah, they can do terror in some of the spaces. So this could really put 26 July back in the game.
Yeah.
It's a big.
Looks like he's going for it. Yep. He's probably going to. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He would probably put Kamagui.
Yep.
I'm surprised that he didn't try to go into Oriente though. That's
Oriente. Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's been a sport for a long time, so it's hard to get into. Sometimes
so I'm not sure the purpose of doing it in Santiago de Cuba though.
No, just to hurt the government.
Yeah, because hurting the government is pretty much useless. Doing it in Pinar del Rio makes a lot of sense. Doing it in Camagüey does, but I think Santiago de Cuba is just being mean and wasting resources. I don't think it's worth it.
They actually can't kidnap anywhere either. So.
No. So I don't see the purpose of that.
No. It is just being mean. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they think.
But it's also wasteful in terms of resources.
It's wasteful.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, when you're an angry young revolutionary, you just lash out like this.
Yeah, but you have to be pragmatic. I think this is.
Okay. Yep.
I need to stop eating those plums.
I quite want to try one now. Can you bring one along to PunchCon?
Yeah. I'll bring a box.
Okay, good. Okay. They can't kidnap there either, unfortunately. Too many police. He's going to try it again, but then somebody's going to tell him he can't do it. Because you need to have more guerrillas than police. This is why the syndicate kind of enjoys being close to the... Yeah, do you want to step in and tell them this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you about to do a kidnap? Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll jump off then. Yeah. Jay was already telling him he couldn't. So yeah. I feel like I probably don't need to intervene anymore. I think for clear rules mistake, Jay would say something. He would just not say anything when they were just making a play mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is fair.
I think actually sometimes when I'm playing coin with people, I maybe give too many of these like play tips because but problem is I play coin games for development purposes a lot. So I'm intentionally looking at what the most efficient action is for everyone at all times. So it becomes quite hard for me not to see it.
It can be overwhelming sometimes to give, I think, too many play tips because on
I
top
agree.
of figuring out just how the game works, you're trying already to figure out how to have high level of play.
Yeah.
And I think it's not the right time for that.
And I can almost slip into trying to like play faction for somebody else, which is not. So I try not to do that. Okay, so next card after this could be propaganda.
Yes, that's what I
which
was
would
about to
be
say. Yeah.
exciting to see. And actually, 26th July, by this bold move, have put themselves back in the game right now, I'd say. However, they may have shot themselves in the foot by doing a terror in Santiago de Cuba because government made
For me, it was a
block
misplay. For me, it was a misplay.
Yep.
They
Because
needed
we're at this point of the game as well, where the personalities come in, and the government might think, well, I can't win, but I can stop 26th July winning.
Yeah, and I think it was a misplay. They need those this extra resource. I think they shouldn't have done this.
Jay's just got this slow and steady grind in Las Vegas now. We call this the Las Vegas meat grinder. Seen it too many times. Yep.
This is just sad.
He's doing terror there. They need just an assassinate to get rid of the base. That is a smart play, actually.
Yeah.
So there's been 2 or 3 times this game Jay's done something with Directorio, and I thought, why is he doing that?
Yeah, and then it all made sense.
Because otherwise, government could try and put some stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you he had this big Directorio energy, and now he's confirming it. I think is
smart. He could even terror in some other spaces just to make it even less likely that 26th July would win.
Yeah.
He chose not to, but if he terrored in, for instance, Sierra Maestra, Camagüey, and Matanzas, and Matanzas,
it could hurt them.
That would would mean that even opposition in Havana wouldn't help. But here we go, as predicted, government saying fuck you to 26th July. It's fair.
Yeah, he's getting after them, but that was predictable. Yeah,
it's looking like 26th July is going to sneak through. So not 26th July, Directorio sneak through there.
And I think that was because of that misplay. I think
exactly.
I think the Santiago in Cuba one was one too many.
Yeah, because it's possible that government would have considered transporting and sweeping in Las Vegas or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise. Yep. Exactly. That's right. This is a new situation we have here. So I actually think Jay's been playing a long game here. So in the pre-game chat, everyone was speaking up the Havana situation, and Jay implied he was gonna do this charge into Havana, and he even put this base down here in Havana, and he hasn't used it the whole game. It's been sitting here not doing anything, playing a mind game, and all along he was planning for the Las Vegas meat grinder. It's very clever, really.
Yeah, I would not want to play against him.
No. Okay, Pact of Caracas coming up, which is a really interesting event, but too late in the game for it to have much of an impact. Although it would benefit Jay to take it now, potentially.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Actually, for him now, potentially could be really interesting. So do you want to talk a bit about the Pact of Caracas?
It's a really interesting one. So it effectively prevents 26th July and DR from harming each other, either by removing pieces or by shifting opposition at all, either up or down, in fact, basically. And then you need to remove 2 of your own bases to cancel it, which is huge. Very difficult to do. So playing this now, I'm not sure it's quite in a position where it makes sense. But for instance, if Directorio was worried about if these guerrillas here in Matanzas and Camagüey were still underground, Directorio could be worried about an ambush from 26th July, and Pact of Caracas would prevent that. So that could be a really interesting play for them. Normally, I would say it favors 26th July more than Directorio, but that could be a situation where it's the other way. Okay, Syndicate, considering their options. Syndicate now needs to stop Directorio from winning. That's what we need to do.
That should be their focus right now.
How do they do that? Probably they could just bribe to remove some Directorio bases even. Wouldn't be bad. Although they could place another one in Las Vegas very easily, so I don't know. Not sure. They could rally, so they could put guerrillas into Matanzas and Camagüey. That would remove 2 control from Territory. And
I think that probably removing the base from Las Villas was actually exactly for that, to have that buffer in case they lose one somewhere else. It's an easy place to replace it.
Yeah, exactly.
And keep it secure.
No, I've been very impressed by Jay's play of Territory this game.
Yeah.
I think if he wins, I think it'd be a very, very fair victory for the
Yeah, deserved. Do you think there's a lot of discussions happening right now? Yeah. Now he's taking his turn.
There has
Okay.
been. So every time there's been this big pause, it's been something that Syndicate's up to. I think some kind of
Yeah.
discussions, which is good. So this is it's something I think like online play of Coin can suffer from sometimes. That you have less of this discussion, particularly the asynchronous play people do sometimes. But it's nice to see there's a fair bit of that going on. You know, there's been some negotiations, and we'll maybe hear about that in the post game chat.
I'm gonna come out and say it. I don't think that you should play Coin asynchronously. I don't think it makes sense. I think it's it's not as bad as playing it solo, but I don't think you should.
Well, I play it solo. So, yeah, I think it's a very different kind of game. So, for instance, Steven, who designs a lot of Coin games and plays them a lot, barely talks at all while playing them, and there's very little discussion. And the way he sees it is, and the way I see it as well sometimes, because I play too much, like I was saying earlier, is I can just see what I think of as the correct move each turn, and there's really not much room for discussion about that. That's a bit boring sometimes, to be honest. So I think it's nice when there's more room for discussion in the game. General strike. Oh, this could change it for government.
Oh,
this is a big switch up. General strike is going to set a city to active support. You know what's going to happen? The Havana situation. We're back. We're back in the Havana situation, Fred.
Oh yeah, I think that kills the hopes for 26th of July.
Yes, Julie. Yeah. So for government, that could put them back up to 15, which is still not great, but they're getting there.
I don't think the government can come back, honestly. I don't see it.
They can do that, and then also, it'll be difficult. But, then they can build up some more maybe in Santiago de Cuba in the propaganda run. But it's their best route towards a decent score, I'd say. 26th July really needs to give up on Havana now and there for some terror elsewhere. So, they could rally. I would rally into Las Villas and Oriente, or at least into one of them. I'm prepared to do a terror there to increase opposition. Yeah. Are you whittling, Fred?
No, I'm looking at the cards again.
Oh, I thought you were whittling there, carving a small figurine or something.
Oh, no.
Okay. Good. Yeah, 26th July, I would rally somewhere. You need some more resources too. So 26th July should have kept some more resources in reserve maybe, and then rallied now into provinces, and then terror there. That's what I do. They're all active, which is not a good point.
Yeah, it's not great.
Okay, we're getting there.
Yeah, the general strike is really good.
That's another one of those big cards. Someone was asking earlier, which big cards are left in the game, and I forgot there was this one as well, which sets it straight to support.
That was what I was saying at the beginning. Knowing those big cards is
Yeah, no, definitely is.
Okay, what is he doing then?
He's rallying. Yeah, it's not going to work. That's just going to make you and government both lose. Still, we'll see. Seems to be contemplating again.
Yeah.
Lots of debate, perhaps.
Interesting. I don't know what he's trying to go for right now.
So, so this, I mean, I can understand this. Maybe the thinking is, I need Havana, at least passive opposition, or else I can't win. So I'm going to try it and see if it works.
Yeah, which is fair, I guess.
Yeah, it's fair, but if government takes us to that next event, that's not
it's never gonna. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna get there. And they're just getting in a direct opposition between the two factions, and those are the two factions that have the least chance of winning.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, he's rethinking it. Maybe he can hear us.
Yeah.
I think you might be able to.
So for the what did he do then?
Do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
And yeah, it's a really interesting situation. Yeah, that we're talking about it. I think it's really tight. There is a good event coming for the government for them to get back a bit in the race. But still, that's going to be a bit hard. I think it's really between Directorio and the syndicate right now. Okay, so
Syndicate. Yeah.
They did something to the Directorio. What did they do?
The Directorio base in Las Vegas disappeared. Oh, the Syndicate did this with bribe, I think. Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, they bribed to remove
But
that
then
base.
what did the 26th of July just did right now?
I'm not sure. Don't know what's happening with that. Because it looks like Directorio has already passed as well. And government. Do you want to just check what 26th July just did on that turn?
Yeah, just gonna check in. Hey, just a quick question. What did 26th of July do on their Oh, they tried to assault in Havana. Okay.
Okay. Yep, makes sense.
Thanks. We missed that. Okay.
So they were hoping. That's a crazy move. They were hoping to roll that one and.
Yeah.
Oh no, just to remove the base in La Habana. Okay, so they were really going for trying to stop Directorio winning. I see it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sinatra. Okay, this is going to help Syndicate.
Yeah. So actually, those are two pivotal events. One for each faction. One for the government now, bringing Havana to active support, and Sinatra is going to be enabling the syndicate to open a casino beyond stacking limit.
Yep. And maybe so you could think of a Sierra Maestro manifesto maybe as a pivotal for 26th July. You can give them 2 bases down, which is quite nice. Yep. So yeah, it's just in a strong spot here though. I'm not quite sure what Lloyd's stop is going to be. It might even be one of these situations where we need the other factions to fund the government.
Yeah.
Although the government's got more money than them, so I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, now the syndicate is actually quite poor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so what the Directory is going to do? They have a full turn now. I'm curious to see.
They'll rally, I think.
Yeah.
They need that base down
they have one base to put down. Yeah, that's what they're going for.
And then they could rally. They've got so much money. They could rally in Orient as well, just to make sure they keep control of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that's the other thing that 26th July can do now. They could march into Oriente.
Yeah.
Hurt them. Okay.
Yeah, putting them back at +1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they could actually create a bit of a buffer and go higher than that? And if you were them, where would you go? Would you try to take control of to get La Habana, for example, or something like this?
Well, that's tougher because of the active opposition there. So
yeah.
I think they don't really have any good options to increase their score at this point. So they're just subverting that to gain the resources. That makes sense. I would consider doing that. Well, you don't really need to remove the opposition, so it doesn't matter. Removing the active opposition in Matanzas or Camagüey would have been nice just to...
Yeah, I think in Matanzas would be nice, yeah.
It would give you an option to rally there as well.
Yeah, and then potentially move into La Habana.
Yeah, rally in Oriente would be my call. Because they don't need the resources now. So, you get 2 resources for Las Vegas, but it's not really needed.
I would say they have more money than they need, definitely.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen them so rich, actually.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I guess, yeah, and there is no way for them to move in and take control of Sierra Maestra anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's been a few of these events which give you resources only equal to the lower of aid or a number.
Yeah.
So if government, there were also some which increased aid. So actually, if government had taken a few of these, they could have some more money now. But you need to bet.
Yeah, it would have been beating on the fact that they would have come up.
Yeah. That's unusual. I don't know why the general strike has appeared again.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened there. Yeah.
Maybe they found it from the Discord or something. I don't even know where that goes. Yeah, there it is. They were just having a look at it. Yep. Sinatra for the casino.
Yeah.
And I don't think government gets a cash because there's none given. They might be wondering about that. I don't know. Then 26th July. who really don't have any great shot.
Yeah,
there, I
and
don't think.
Golden Chronicle agrees with us. DR is in a solid position, but then again, I think the Syndicate is actually doing pretty well. But
Syndicate, if it goes to final scoring, I think Syndicate will win.
Yeah,
but they need to stop. They need to stop the
they need to stop this. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about having this buffer of 1 to prevent them from being stopped.
Yep.
And get the instant win before the final scoring.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
Could be any card now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a good game. It's actually pretty tense up until the end. Like, I'm really curious to figure out which of those two is gonna take it.
Yeah. But you think 26 Chilean government are out of the game now?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see how,
because even if government gets the final scoring, they can only gain 1 more support than Santiago de Cuba right now. So
they will end up at.
It'll be a decent score, but not.
Yeah, they will end up at -3, which is good at the end of the game. So I think that's nice. I think 26 is completely out, and yeah, it's really between the casino and Directorio, and that's gonna be, can they go into final scoring or not? That's gonna come to that.
Yep, true.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm wondering what they were doing to do, because I guess that if 26 starts to attack the Syndicate, actually that could give the win to Directorio.
Oh, definitely,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Let's see. Maybe somebody will put some Syndicate casinos. Exactly. Yeah. If this happens, that will secure the win for Directorio. So it's still quite a few things can happen, but I definitely see the game going between those two ones, and it's going to depend on how the other factions or what are they going to do. And this is where you have also the emotional aspect. There could be I don't know. Maybe payback time for stuff that happened before that we didn't hear in the chat. We don't know.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think for sure 26 July made the government angry, which is sad. It's general strike again. Where's it come from?
What the?
That's not right.
I think they might have moved it and now it's staying in the Discord. That's really weird.
Are they sorting it out?
Yeah, I guess so.
Because we should be on speaking to. There we go. Yeah, that's right. Good. That's good. I got it. Government doesn't really have any good players here. I mean, if they can, okay, so let's think about it. 0, 1, 2, 3. If they can bring down Directorio enough and also somehow close some casinos, they could have a shot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we see it too much as them having points, not enough as them knocking points down of the other factions. That's a good point.
So, for instance, if they do an assault in Santiago de Cuba, they could close 2 casinos, and they could also transport, or on a different turn, sweep to remove some controls of it. I mean, they've got options actually. Not terrible. We need to block this next election event, though, unfortunately.
Yeah. Maybe you can talk a bit about the election event, but they are first eligible on it.
Yeah, so the election's another interesting one, where this shaded effect can be good or bad for government, depending on the situation. So if there's a city active opposition, government can use it to remove that, or even passive opposition. But at the minute, all the cities are at support, so the government doesn't want the election to go ahead, basically, because it would demonstrate that the government's not popular. So this C3I variant thing I mentioned before, it's also got these variant government leaders. So you get these new government leader counters with slight variant rules, like it limits you to do this or it adds this to you, which you gain either on the election card. You pick a random one, but Batista can rig the election, or the coup or Batista Please, or give you these new leaders, and they do just slightly different things, which is quite neat. I think it adds a little bit of depth to the government faction. I haven't got a copy of this myself because it's hard to get hold of these C3I variant scenarios.
So if someone listening and has a spare one, or someone to send it to Joe. So what the director is doing right now?
Maybe if Roger's listening, he'll send me one. What is the directory doing? What should the directory do? They could. So you're talking about this buffer. They could move into Sierra Maestra, but they risk then losing Oriente. So I think it'd be a mistake.
How many
sure any
guerrilla PCs they can?
I think they have all of them out.
All of them are out.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're
almost all the pieces are down. Yeah.
Because basically, Sierra Maestra would give them the buffer of 1, but that would be a risky one. And they could do 2 moves to go into La Habana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chip. Does the GMT monastery where Joe lives paints accept UDS? Yes, it does. It does indeed. You see?
Well, I certainly wouldn't say no. That would be lovely.
Just need to ask.
Just need to ask. Yep. An ambush in Camagüey. Yep.
Yeah, Chip, you can contact me on Discord if you want. And I can put you in contact with Joe. That would be great. Awesome.
Yep. So Territorio is actually just subverting Camagüey, which seems slightly vindictive, just to hurt. I mean, it lets them rally there, true, which is good. I would have considered doing an ambush in Camagüey or Matanzas and actually just attacking in Las Villas and the other one as well. But this is fine. That's to a similar position.
Yeah, why do you think he's doing that?
I'm not sure. I think he maybe doesn't want to do the die rolls of ambushing. And it also just avoids 26 July being in a good position to win as well. Perhaps, but I'm not sure. Yep. So we're gonna. Do you think the propaganda card's gonna be the final one in the deck again?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be a weird game like that.
That's really strange. We can blame Joel Toppen for his brilliant work making these vassal modules. He actually does a very good job, and it's very kind and very handy to have all these available. Yeah. I think government is just doing civic action here. That's wild. Okay. Yep. Fair enough. Yep. Okay. Can't argue with that. Expensive, but they're doing it.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive.
But they're gonna have to do it at some point. Yeah, I'd maybe have closed those casinos instead and then waited for the final civic action round.
Yeah. It's not bad. We'll do it afterwards. Yeah. And just hope for a final check.
Yep.
Oh, so Felipe, no, we're not playing with bots. We're actually not playing. We are so this is the finals of the Coin Pro series. So it was a tournament that started a couple of months ago, and this is the final game. So we're actually looking at the game live, and the players are in another room on Discord, and they'll come back to check in. So now we are actually on the final propaganda. There is 5 cards remaining in the deck. It's a pretty close game, I would say. And I think that both Joe and I are betting on either Directorio winning on the first victory check in the next propaganda round, or potentially Syndicate winning on the final victory check. So this is what's happening. But no, we're not playing against bots.
Fred, would you consider playing live against bots? Is that something you thought about doing?
So I might consider it. So with Liz from Beyond Solitaire, we're going to start a series of videos called Alone Together, because I notoriously hate solo stuff and bots and stuff like this. And her whole thing is actually to play solo. So what we're going to do is play solo like when you make me play test solo stuff. So I will be playing solo games with her, only focusing on what the player does, and she would be taking care of the automation of the games and playing those games together, and for me to discover a bit more solo games. So I think in that context, I could play bots handled by someone else, either Liz or you.
I think 26th July may have checked out of this. They just passed on a card when they can't act on the next card. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, so
maybe they think they need the resources, but that's
But they didn't bring up their resources.
No, they gained 1 from passing. But...
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they completely gave up. Oh,
they did do that. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Felipe. I hope you'll enjoy it. Just check on BGG. I added the censorship variant, so you have a small variant and 10 extra cards that you can print to add to the base game. But the variant itself can be played with the base game, and I would definitely recommend it. Oh, and actually, yesterday in the middle of the night, I was having small insomnia problems, true, but I actually came up with an idea for an edition 2 of Red Flag over Paris, changing how the military side works. And I think this plus the censorship would make Red Flag over Paris a better game. Probably the game that I wanted to design. Just a thought.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think I know what 26th July was doing. They wanted to keep at least 1 resource so that they could kidnap some more money off the syndicate if they need it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit late in the game for that kind of thinking. Really, you just need to seize what you can. So yeah, I think he's just gonna attack in all of these, or he might just even subvert again just to really rub it in 26th July. I don't know. Yeah, I would do an ambush in Matanzas and attack in Las Villas. I would do it.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking last time as well. Because it eliminates the opposition there and strengthens the opposition. Yeah. Syndicate just got +10 resources from this Anastasio card. So they need to get that act together, but if Syndicate on these last couple of cards can
they can win.
Remove, they need to get Directorio down, but if they can do that, I think they've got it.
If they knock them down by 1,
Although Directorio are going to get this extra base in from they're just rallying. They're just rallying and doing this brutal. Okay.
Oh, they moved away their base. Okay, in the more secure location.
Okay. Still.
Makes sense.
The thing is though that Directorio will get this free rally from the expat influence, which will get the expat backing, which will get their base back. So Syndicate need to also remove control. And if you look at what Jay's doing now, he's very cautiously consolidating this central spine area. And it's going to be very difficult to remove his control there now.
The famous Echeverria headlock. That's what it's called. That's what
it's called. You grab him and you're just rubbing the head. Yeah,
that's the Echeverria headlock.
He was a real bully, kind of a jock type figure. I think that's true. He was a bit of a nerd. So this is this event I was talking about earlier, map. So it let government do a free special activity with their limb up, which is a really nice little combo you get there. But it's way too late to be taking momentum.
Yeah, that's completely useless.
No use, no point. Something's happening in camera break. It's always kind of ominous where they signpost one area and you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of clickety click.
Okay.
But I think consolidating was the right move. Like he secured.
Yeah, no, very good steady territory play. It's hard to beat territory at this point, I think. Yeah. So 26th July has this opportunity to kidnap Terra in Pinar del Rio, which would get them some resources, but there's not much else they can do with that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Or take the cash. They could take the cash, but it's even less useful right now.
Yeah.
I would let them do a prelim up somewhere else. They could also rally somewhere else, for instance. Get maybe a guerrilla down in Oriente or Las Villas. That's not going to get them the victory. It's just going to improve their score a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's an honorable thing to do at this stage of the game. There's this question in games like this, I think, where you get to the final few turns and it's clear you're not going to win about what you should do. And I think just increasing your own score is a perfectly decent approach to take.
Yeah, to make sure that your final score is not too shameful.
Yep.
Not saying that it's shameful now. That's not what I'm saying. But that you maybe want to improve it. But yeah, I don't see any path to victory. I think that government, as you said, had a path to victory by knocking the other two down. But I think at this stage in the game, there are just not enough cards for them to be able to do that.
Yep.
So I think it's really now head-to-head between Syndicate and Directorio. And with what the Directorio just did, securing their position and having this good, strong position, I think it's going to be hard to take the victory from the Directorio.
Very, very hard. Because, they could have rallied in Matanzas or Camagüey. Remove control, but that's gone now. There's no chance for that.
Yeah.
They can bribe, but it's very expensive and probably won't be enough. So, and they're about to lose some of this cash now to Victoria, I think, to 26th July.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit slow, though, I must say.
It's a bit slow, but this second half has actually been quicker. It's only been an hour to get through the last 20 or so cards.
Yeah. But then again, they didn't have to go through a whole propaganda round also. So that's yeah. I think it's going to be the last one, Joe. It's going to be the last one.
It's going to be the last one, is it? That's great. We need Ian. We need Ian to tell us the chances of this. So, very silly.
That's the thing. Is like every setup has the same chance of happening. Like it's just that it's really weird that it happened this way.
Yeah. 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 So there's nothing much that we can do right now, I don't think. They could rally some guerrillas into Matanzas and Camagüey, even into Matanzas to try to do it, and then maybe if they rally into Matanzas, and then they can do a march of 1 into Matanzas and 2 into Camagüey, but they don't really have enough pieces out, I don't think, to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would actually just take this event and open a casino if I was Syndicate, and then hope somebody else deals with
with the problem of the Directorio.
There's nothing they can do. Nothing they can do here. There's this even Ilo Minoya coming up to replace a piece with Territorial Guerrillas, so tricky.
I'm wondering how they're going to use it.
Well, so for instance, if Syndicate tried to pull up this trick of at least removing control of Matanzas, Territoria can just block it with this, replace it with Territoria pieces.
And if they don't?
If they don't, it almost doesn't matter at that point what Territoria does. I don't think. Yep. This is Territoria's game to lose now, as I say.
Yeah. Very really sound like a football comment. I love it.
Yeah. The only thing Directoria could do at this point, if they marched all of their guerrillas from Camagüey and Matanzas into Frontiers, they would lose. But that would be like in the final 5 minutes of a game of football, turning around and trying to score as many goals as possible into your own goal. Which I'm not a football expert, but I think that would be a bad strategy. Is that right?
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay. Did you hear all the nonsense I was saying?
No, I wasn't really listening. I was blowing my nose.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's probably all the.
But I agree. I agree with everything that you say. You're not commenting for me. We're commenting for the audience anyway, so that's fine.
Okay.
I've been really struggling with that cold. It's been a bitch. What are they doing?
Yeah, so Chip's correct, but I mean, you can check in on them if you want. So Chip's right that you get this tension with not knowing when the final card's coming up. I feel like the tension maybe peaked a couple of cards ago when it looked like something could have happened to change it. But right now, I feel less tense because I'm not sure anyone can prevent this victory now.
Yeah, I would be surprised if something crazy came up.
Yeah, I mean, government could transport to Las Vegas and stop them winning, actually.
Yeah, true.
But they're not going to get a special activity unless the others really collaborate to live and do this.
Yeah, that's the thing. Are they discussing about this? Because but basically that would be.
Do you want to go and just listen to what they're saying for a second?
Yeah, I'm going to listen. Oh, something is happening. What's happening?
Go and listen.
I'm gonna go and listen in. No, I'm just listening in. We're curious about where there are some negotiations happening. So I'm just, I didn't have any question. I was just listening.
Not going to tell us.
Okay. Interesting. So Anthony, what do you want the government to do? Anything. Okay. But then okay, good. Good. I'll go back into the stream now. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some pretty intense negotiations between Gian Mera for the government and Anthony from the syndicate. And the syndicate is ready to give them, I think, quite a lot of money for them to do something. And I think I'm not too surprised, because that's basically their path to victory is actually to fund the government to do things against the Directorio. It's basically just using them as a tool for them to get a path to victory, which does make sense. And I think that's they're at this stage of the game. There is 2 cards left in the deck. Yeah, and this is really going to be the mind game part.
Yep. Yeah, I guess the problem is it's not clear that it's going to be in for government's benefit, really. I mean, they can stop Directorio winning, and then probably Syndicate wins, but it's not going to improve government's position.
Yeah.
Unless government can, bring Directorio down far enough that government can at least claim second position. That can happen.
Yeah, a lot of discussions behind the scenes, definitely.
But it looks like Directorio has just gone for a regular turn here.
Yeah.
Probably they're trying to figure out how to make the most of it. So they could remove control of Matanzas right now if they did a rally and bribe there. But the problem, as I said before, is that Directorio can get right back in again with the next event, or even just a march or a rally or something. Oh, we've got Scrangazas here.
Oh, who could that be?
The other monk, Scrangazas.
Yeah.
Do you want to thematically would prefer Syndicate Territory? Yeah.
Do you want to come to the on the stream, Stephen? I can just send you the link if you want to be there for the final debrief.
Yeah, Syndicate's taking the event, which I think is smart because it lets them open a casino at least, which improves their position slightly. And if government's not playing ball, then that's the best they can do.
Yeah.
They get to ambush somewhere. He says no. Okay. he doesn't want. He doesn't want to come. Yeah, ambushing there makes sense as well. Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, Syndicate can ambush here to remove the 2 26 July guerrillas who are just causing trouble for them, which is fair, and then activate that casino. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Good. That's what I thought. And the casino's open. Cool. And then government can do something. So if government cared about stopping Directorio, they could sweep Camagüey or Matanzas, but I suspect that they don't care that much about doing that. And maybe it's the next card. I don't know.
If it's not the next card, I would say that definitely something was weird with Vassal. I think there was a mix-up in the way the deck were created. Because I think that
maybe, yeah.
last, I think looks really unusual.
True, Vassal is fairly buggy. So it could well be. But it's a weird, if they'd all been last, I think, certainly. But one of them to be first is kind of odd. So Steven's just boasting here. That he's playing this.
Oh yeah, he's just just being mean to the audience right now.
Yeah, Steven's actually been helping me tweak some aspects of that bit. So it's not in wider testing yet, although a few people have been trying it. We've been working on a few different ideas. Mostly to change up the Directorio faction actually quite a lot. So
I think that in a couple of weeks when I go back to the Cardboard Emperors Club, we're gonna organize one because there is a lot of interest there for the 3-player scenario.
Okay, cool.
So
we will probably have changed it quite a lot by then, so I'll send you the new version so you have it.
Yeah, but it will be I think in 2 or 3 weeks, something like this. So we have time. Probably after PunchCon. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I might even be able to give you the new event to try if you want.
Oh yeah, that could be cool.
You would need to sleeve them all if you cared about not being able to see them. You would need to sleeve them all if you cared about not being able to see which was new and which was old.
Yeah. We'll see about that. Yeah, maybe that because I haven't sleeved my my deck, but I could do that.
You have some opaque sleeves?
No, but I will get some.
Okay.
So what's happening? It's been those last few cards I think are negotiation heavy, and I see that we're losing the viewers now. We're losing the viewers.
But this is, I think, a good example of where. So I was saying earlier that me and Stephen are sometimes skeptical about how much negotiation there's really room for, and this is a case where I don't think there is much room for negotiation because I don't think anyone can actually improve their positions significantly.
Yeah.
It's just about deciding who you want to hurt, basically.
Yeah.
Which might come down to how the game is played out and the kind of personalities that have been involved in that. Okay. So government's going into, they're transporting to less. There you go. So this is it. For instance, they've decided they're going to try and stop territory winning.
Finally,
Yep. Because maybe they've been more friendly with Syndicate over the game, for instance.
Yeah, I think Syndicate and government had a good dynamic. So that does kind of make sense.
Yep. Probably Territorio, and I think Jay knows what he's doing, can just rally next turn and get their position back again. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Or attack. Even.
Yeah, he might even attack.
He could attack and come away and ambush in less spheres. But I think he can get to the same position just more safely by doing a rally.
Which, seeing the playstyle that he has been doing, is probably what he's going to do.
It leaves him slightly vulnerable.
Oh yeah, so it was actually totally random. Yeah, it was totally random. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so yeah, I think he's just got the game then. Yeah.
Yes, as well. No, okay. So the safe play would be to do rally and less spheres of Kamagwe, but that leaves him vulnerable to, because he's only got limited pieces, leaves him vulnerable to 26 July messing with him. So the attack would be a kind of a bolder option. So we'll see what he does. It looks like he's going to be ambush and attack and less spheres, I think. Yep. So that's the bolder option there.
Yeah.
And I would actually ambush actually removes 2 cubes. I don't know if he knows that, but that's fine. I would actually do an attack in Kamagwe as well at this point. And even in
Michael, I don't think he's doing limited ops. I think he's doing a full turn. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like he's rallying.
Yeah, maybe. Interesting.
Why did he remove a troop? I don't know. Not going to worry too much about it.
Oh, he's taking the event.
Oh, okay.
What is the event?
Lets him replace a piece with 2 other pieces. That's not what I would have done. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but then why?
I think he may have given the game to Syndicate if he does that.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Oh.
Okay. Look what 26 July is doing. That is a real rogue move there. Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
This gives 26 July a full turn now.
Yeah.
There's not much we can do with it.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael is
asking, yeah, that's right. That's why he's doing this. You can only do lim ops before the final. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yep. Good reminder. Thanks.
Yeah.
So that's why he's done that. That is his best move. I was surprised that Jay was not doing what I had decided was the best move. So that's impressive. Yeah, of course he has to do that. So 26 July just really doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah. But then I think we're looking at a Syndicate win.
Say it does not matter. Well, maybe. Directorio still has this free rally from the expat backing, which will let them take back Kamagwe. So they'll be on a +1. Syndicate will be stuck on a 0 from their casinos. Oh no, that's not right. They're on a +2. So it's going to come down to how much money. I think it will be a Syndicate victory. Yeah.
Yeah.
A surprise Syndicate victory with government help.
Yeah, with the government help, because I'm
looking
at...
they'll get enough money for that. because they're getting.
Yeah,
they will. They're getting enough resources for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, government just gained. Oh, they're doing the propaganda right now. I think.
Yeah.
I think they didn't do anything. Okay. Yep. And the civic action won't matter. I think
No.
they're going to get their summer resources. That's right. Yep. Wow.
Whew. Is there anything
Amazing.
he can actually do?
No, he can just do that rally to gain one more point, but that won't be enough.
Yeah.
Yep. He was maybe focusing almost too safely just on his own points and should have been thinking about disrupting syndicates some more.
Yeah, probably.
Syndicate's about to gain a bunch from cash as well. He may even be able
Oh,
to...
wait a minute. Yeah, he doesn't have it. Yeah, okay. Because he's going to go beyond 31, right?
I think. Yeah, he gains 3 for that economic center. But he gains more for the...
Yeah, and then he has the cash.
The cash as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Some tense last minute calculations going on.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
it's going up.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Like a slot machine.
Yeah.
All the lights lighting up. Perfect.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I think it just got he just got the win. It's going to be +1 for Directorio and +2 for the Syndicate.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Directorio can get that position back and come away, but otherwise it won't matter. Yep.
Yes, we're saying this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I'm not sure how accurate it is for them to collude with the Syndicate to the extent that the Syndicate wins. But yes, certainly some corruption within the Batista government. I'm not sure. So, for instance, as we know from watching Godfather Part 2, I think that's the right one. Batista didn't stay behind to help the US mafia. He did leave with as much money as possible. It doesn't seem to have happened in this case. Do you want to invite them back in? They may be still figuring something out, but
I'm just gonna tell them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and as soon as you're done, you can come back to the stream, right? Yeah. See you soon. There's gonna be a rally in Camagüey, obviously, to get the point back, but that's not gonna be enough.
That's it. Nothing else will matter.
Yeah, Jay had a bit of a sad tone, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really interesting. But then again, for Jay to target the Syndicate, it was actually hard because he wasn't really sharing that much space.
He could rally in terror with Assassinate, but yeah, it would take more of an effort for sure. Yeah,
but he had time to do it. But maybe he was a bit too cautious. But he's done a really, really good job, I think. Maybe just a bit too cautious at the end. Yeah. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. Oh, yeah. Good move. But that's basically what we said. That was between the two of them. And Jay is back. Hey, Jay. How is it?
Never playing this game again.
Yeah, we saw it. We were really sad for you. You didn't deserve that. Yeah, it was corrupt. It was corrupt.
Yeah,
hey,
Alex.
Alex.
It was really the propaganda card not coming up fast enough for me.
Yeah, we actually were saying that maybe you moved in a bit too soon because you started taking a winning position where there was no chance of the propaganda card coming up. And we thought, oh, maybe he's exposing himself. But then for a long time, we thought you really were gonna win. But then, yeah, when we saw that the Syndicate and the government were starting to talk to each other, we thought, yeah, Joe was saying there's gonna be a transport in Las Villas, and that's gonna screw him over. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Rough. Very rough. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh man, I am just so glad I pulled it out there. That was that second when I thought that third propaganda came out, like immediately after, I thought that was it. I thought Directorio had it in the bag at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, but Directorio really played a solid game. We really thought until the and for a long time that Jay would win. So that's definitely the thing that we're going for. And yeah. So that was but yeah, for us, the last propaganda was between Directorio and Syndicate. There was a lot of tension, and we're thinking, well, what the Syndicate needs to do is prevent the Directorio from winning on the victory check on the last propaganda, and yeah, you managed to pull it off. So so congrats on that, and we're really sad for Jay. We're really sad. Yeah. But so how did you feel? So Alex, you seem very pensive. What the game has been like?
It was fun in the first campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, I just felt like maybe like I didn't have any agenda left or anything to really come back.
Yeah.
So now looking at the result, I think I could have like still kept on talking with the Directorio and maybe got some more opposition out of it, and also close some casinos. But so I'm sorry for that. But I tuned off at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think you did still have a chance at the end, but it felt like a rougher game at the for the second half, definitely.
I mean,
this
Gian Maria, I have to give, like, I never played against the government who used like all these transport, and so like I was immediately countered all the time. It felt really whatever I did, it was like I was done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Gian Maria, how was it for you?
Well, it was quite tricky, I have to say. But the very good thing, the very good impression I get from this game is that it was tense until the end. I continue to feel that I had something to do and to try at least to decrease my margin from victory condition. So that's the reason why I swept and transported during my very last turn, but then I didn't take in account that Syndicate could earn resources and then win. But at the same time, Syndicate was a quite good ally because we had some trading, we had some negotiation, and well, it was very very well played of you. And I was happy to play with all of you.
What you're saying, Gian Maria, is that Anthony tricked you. That's basically what you're saying. Like he basically tricked you. Like he bamboozled you. That's oh my God, Anthony, awful behavior.
I'm the mafia. What am I supposed to do?
But at the same time, it was a very long game, and you can't. I felt like I couldn't think of everything which could happen during the game until the very end of the game. So there's a time where it's so tense that you are tired, and you try to do the best you can, but you can't think of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I must say, it was great to watch. It was extremely tense. Like up until I think for the first 2/3, we really think that like it was going to be really tense for each faction up until the end. And I would say maybe for the last,
like 5 or 6 cards was less than. I mean, even in the final 15 cards, there was this exciting play by Alex of going for trying to get active opposition, I think, in Havana, which if you pulled that off, that would have been really, really fantastic. So that was cool to see that attempt.
Yeah, we're really rooting for you for that move, and we're really excited for this. We're like, he's coming back, he's gonna get those 12 points. We're like rooting for you. It's like, he's going for it. But then
I was hoping for the first possible propaganda card just when you get it to active opposition. There would have been amazing.
And the thing that we wondered is, why did you do the terror attack in Santiago de Cuba? That's the thing that we didn't understand, because it felt wasteful. Like you could never get actually points from it, just remove points from the government, and you needed those resources. So we were really wondering, why did you do that terror attack there?
And it was going to make the government angry at you as well.
Yeah, and we're thinking, don't poke the bear. You're already screwing them up in Havana. So
it was a middle display. I just thought that I could close a casino and get some money out of it, and I didn't calculate for the cubes, and then I realized this, but I didn't want to recalculate everything, so I kept the move. And
fair enough. Yeah, but we really thought that when we saw you starting going for it, Joe and I were super excited. So that was really, really great. So sorry it didn't turn out better. I think the events were also the government got really lucky with the general strike. So
Yes,
that was also pretty critical. So that was when we saw this coming, we're saying, oh yeah, Alex is screwed. But before that, we're just rooting for you. So that was extremely fun. But yeah, thanks guys for a really enjoyable game to watch. I think you showed demonstrated some pretty high level play, so that was really nice. And it was really interesting because you all started with pretty low experience in the game before going in, except for Jay. I think that showed that he had more experience. He was very cautious, being very careful about his moves. But it was really great to watch you guys. So thanks again for this, but also playing the game of coming over, commenting and everything. It was really nice to have you over. It was great fun.
It was kind of exciting watching and not knowing what you were doing, because there were two or
Yeah.
three moments where somebody did something and I was like, why they made this move? And then 1 second later I could see why, and it was quite fun being able to see that position, honestly.
Yeah, it was really cool. So do we have any final comments from the winner of the tournament, Anthony, before we close the stream? No final comments.
Not for
You're
me.
just gonna go.
It was a lot of fun. Like this, and this is a great event. I'm really looking forward to another tournament sometime down the road for any of the other games. And
Great.
I will now never be able to convince any of my friends to play this game with me, because I can never tell them this. So.
Yeah, but definitely don't do a deal with Anthony. He will trick you and get the victory. Very sneaky. Great. But thanks again, everyone. Congratulations for getting into the finals. Congratulations, Anthony, for winning the tournament. Jay, good second with the Directorio. I think it's actually a really decent job for a faction that was the weakest faction of the whole tournament. So I think you did amazingly well. So it's an honorable, very honorable, I think, second place. So yeah, nothing to be ashamed of here. But that was great. Thanks again, Alex, Gian Maria. Great game. Have a great evening. Thanks for being here tonight. And Joe, it was awesome to have you as a co-host. So looking forward to future tournaments.
Okay,
thanks,
good
everyone.
with you guys. It was a good game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Everyone.
And the broadcast